muted.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host, Rick, and joining us equally as always is Devon.
Hello. That's my creepy voice.
Oh, no. But today, we're going to be talking about furries.
Yes, we are. Hey, Rick, you know that thing I complained about?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's happened again in between me fixing it and us streaming.
Oh.
So I'm going to do that on the fly. You keep talking.
There's a bit of croppances happening on the fly. Okay. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about furries, and I'm going to delay our next starting segment until I get the all clear that things are ready to go and attention is being paid.
Attention's being paid. Again, it's just I don't know why OBS is doing it. I've already fixed it. It was a minimal change, but it was bugging me.
So, our time-honoured starting segment is, as always, the nonsense asinine hypothetical.
Yay!
And you said you had one for me.
Yes. Unlike you, Rick, I prepare every week. Oh, no rebuttal. Okay, then. My question is very simple. We're talking about furries, and you know how my mind works, so you can probably guess the question. But here goes nothing. You have to live with and have relations with the fucking... You have to live with and have relations with a furry character. Any furry character at all. Who do you pick? And it can only be one.
Yeah,
I fuck it. It's a toughie, isn't it?
It can only be one.
Like you can't pick Corone and get the other one for free. I can't remember the cat's name. I'm sorry.
You can't get Okayu for free. No,
Okayu.
No.
Well, I should probably visit.
I might pick Luce from Monster Musume. She's the Ninetales fox from that. So she's got the shape shifting in case she needs it, but generally she's the fox lady.
I don't remember there being a fox lady from Monster Musume, but that said, I've not kept up with the manga for a while.
She's only got a couple of chapters. I think it's a bit more, PC than picking one of the Minotaurs.
You could pick a Minotaur. I don't care. I know about your inclination towards the larger breast, shall we say?
Yeah.
Man,
bosom, yeah.
Just as an aside, I found a fantastic subreddit. I can't talk today, and I apologise in advance for my many, many flubs that will occur. But the name of the subreddit is Men Writing Women.
Okay.
And it's just awful examples of men describing and dictating their views on women without necessarily realising it. But the best part about it is the tagline for the subreddit is "She breasted boobily down the stairs," which I'm pretty sure is a Zap Brannigan quote.
Yeah, I know exactly that though. Like a lot of the time when men are just describing women in prose, it is just boobs.
And they had to reiterate a rule recently. If the male character that is describing the female is meant to be a dick, you can't use it as an example because they're meant to be a dick skis bag. Ugh.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty good subreddit. It's also depressing. It's also not entirely aimed at bashing male authors because they had a go at J.K. Rowling recently for the way she described a certain male character, which was very disturbing.
Yeah. Well, she also says things about keep your pecker up and all that, things that are a normal thing to say in England in the 70s, but not so much in the world in the noughties and the 10s and the 20s.
I'll link you the passage. Oh, damn it. But yeah, I'll link you the passage at one point, but it's about an obese man, and yeah, it's a very unflattering description. That hovers around the dick. Why the dick? Which I guess is how women act when... Why are they paying so much attention to the boobies?
Yeah, well, okay, there's a difference here. The boobies don't actually do much outside of when they're doing things.
Yeah, whereas... but it wasn't out. It was not a sexual scene.
No.
It was just the character was like, I wonder what their dick's like. It's like, what?
Oh boy.
Anyway, I feel like I've sidetracked us enough about weird J.K. Rowling writing.
Yep, the one I have for you is, you get to eradicate one species from Earth.
Panda. Like, is that the whole question? Is there any caveats to that, or is it just...
Nah, pretty much that was it. Like I was I know
Panda,
your
they're useless.
predilections against pandas, but like most people would pick like mosquitoes or wasps. But
All right, okay, fair enough. Mosquitoes would probably be more beneficial as a whole. Wasps, they still pollinate, even if it's to a lesser degree than bees, and even though they're dicks about it. But no, pandas got to go. Pandas won't affect anything. And as much as we dislike mosquitoes, they are part of the food chain.
sure, sure.
Whereas pandas we could actually get rid of with very little ecological repercussions.
Give it 30 years.
They're fucking useless, man. Like, the only reason pandas are safe right now is because they're cute and humans like to look at them. And to a lesser extent, this also extends to the red panda, because they are also foolish animals. However, they're at least not stupid enough to eat bamboo all day when they've got a carnivorous digestive system.
Yeah, here's the thing. I still don't know what a red panda is. Like, I don't know if it's some kind of reticulated marsupial or if it is actually a bear or, like, it's a weird thing where it's called a panda, but it kind of isn't.
It's not a bear, but it's not a marsupial. It's a mammal. That's about the extent I know. You know what? You've got a fair point. I don't actually know what classification it falls under, but I think it probably falls under the same classification as, like, have you seen a bear cat?
I haven't actually, no. This is something I'm going to have to look up afterwards.
I assume it falls into the same classification as that. Sorry, again, it's a bad day for me to try and say anything scientific because I am flubbing words left, right, and center. But like they are very similar looking creatures. Like red pandas are a bit fluffier and redder. Also, the star of that new Disney film, I believe.
Yeah, the one that's like an allegory for girls going through puberty.
I don't think it's an allegory for that. I don't know. I've not seen it, but a lot of people, it actually appears to be focusing on like people on the spectrum.
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know. I've not seen the film. I've just seen memes, and that seems to be what it implies. I could be very wrong. Again, I'm judging from third-hand information, and even then, it's not real information. It's bullshit, stupid memes.
Yeah, I too have not seen Turning Red. But it is available on Disney Plus, and if you want to watch it, there's where you go.
Oh yeah, let's plug that shit as if that needs it.
Yeah, as if we don't do like a third plus of our episodes from Disney Plus.
Oh fuck, it's got to be a solid half nowadays, I think.
Well, recently, definitely, yeah. Well, it's basically 50-50, like Netflix and Disney Plus, more or less.
Either that or sail the high seas, eh?
Yeah, with a couple of outliers, yeah.
Speaking of the high seas, we've got to talk about that tomorrow on the review, the old Crunchyroll thing that's going on.
Oh, yeah.
But that's for another day. I think I answered that question quickly, almost disappointingly so. So let's crack on with life. And Rick, what are we doing today?
We're talking about furries, and as you may know them as sometimes fur fags, but that's a bit of a derogatory term. We're not going to tend to use that apart from in this description.
Like, we're going to use it once when we bring up 4chan, because that's where the phrase, if it didn't originate from there, that's where I've seen it the most.
Yeah, oh yeah. The phrase at the time was "Yiffin hell fur fags," because 4chan really didn't like furries.
Which, to this day, I don't know why, but we'll get to that later, I suppose. Now, while we are talking about furries, we're also going to slightly divulge a little bit into two subsections of furries. That there's scalies, which I knew about because reasons, and there's featheries, which I didn't know existed, but I had to assume there was a name for the folk who are into birds. And according to Urban Dictionary and various wikis, apparently the term is feathery, which sounds dumb, but whatever, it's all dumb.
Yeah, it's just an anthro bird, There is another kind of classification we can use, which is kemonomimi, which is just animal ears. It's just a human face with stuff like animal ears and tails.
Well, again, if you refer to my notes I sent you, Rick, that's very far down on the. Well, it's either far down or early on in the notes of.
Yeah, I think it's a bit further down, so we have to bring it up a little bit earlier. I think that there is like a sliding scale of furry. It was a comic they used to post, which was like 0% is human, 10% like you got the little animal ears, 50% you're starting to get, actually furry. You've got the actual fur on your face. Like 70% you're just a cartoon animal, and 100% it's just a cat.
Yeah, still furry.
Yeah.
It was a very good gag at the time. Now it's a bit played out, but
yeah. So yeah, we normally start with our previous experience.
Oh
And
boy!
can you remember the first time you encountered a furry?
I didn't know it was a furry at the time, for I was a young innocent boy. But it was definitely Space Jam.
Okay.
And I'll be honest with you, technically speaking, like, you could probably qualify any Looney Tunes character as a furry icon.
Yeah, yeah. I think like the earliest furry kind of characters is probably like Tom and Jerry, and sure they're cartoon animals. Um, because Disney didn't quite have the foothold in Britain that it does in the world at large, so we didn't really see Mickey Mouse too much.
Mm-hmm.
But we saw a lot of Tom and Jerry because apparently it appeals to our humor a lot more.
I mean, it's weird that you mention it because I've said time and time and again, I fucking love some good slapstick, and that's all
Yeah,
Tom and Jerry was.
yeah, yeah,
That might have informed that inclination.
yeah. Plus, it inspired Itchy and Scratchy, despite Tom and Jerry being mostly tame by today's standards. They don't have a lot of blood and gore apart from when Tom's eyes bulge out of his sockets.
Like, there was always that rumor on the playgrounds back in the day of there's a secret episode of Tom and Jerry where Jerry gets really violent and completely eviscerates Tom and does this and does that, except they didn't use that language because, it's kids. It's like, there's blood and guts and yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Jerry goes to town, and then the other one the one where Tom gets Jerry.
I forget what the video game is, but there is a video game where they're talking about Tom and Jerry having an actual sadomasochist relationship with one another, and the only reason
Yeah.
Tom bullies Jerry is because Jerry needs it.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Oh boy. But yeah, you put in your notes as well that we do kind of also draw a distinction between the furry artwork side and the fursuit culture.
yes, absolutely. Because I have no experience with the fursuit culture apart from occasionally seeing people walk around in them at Comic Cons.
I had a friend who had a fursuit. He wasn't into the culture, but he just had one for a laugh.
Weird, but
And
okay.
he came to university one day in it, and his stalker saw him
Mm,
and went up to hug him, and we took a photo. And later on the photo, we saw that the stalker had a bulge. Um,
okay.
so this stalker was very definitely a furry. Like he was the one. He was the lion penis in a bag guy.
Lion penis in a bag guy. What?
Have I not told? I think I've told you about this. The latex representation of like animal penises as dildos.
Oh, right, Bad Dragon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like maybe before it was Bad Dragon, but yeah, those like in plastic bags used and would throw them at people when they went to his house as a flirting technique.
That's really like okay. There's a lot of things to unpack there, but first
Yeah,
and foremost, like it would kind of be funny if they weren't used. If they're used, it's just gross.
yeah, yeah. But they are in a bag,
I don't
so
give a shit.
no.
Like
Well, he did.
your opening flirting technique should not be to throw your fluids at someone. Like because the way you're describing it implies that he didn't clean them before throwing them.
Don't know. Don't know. I didn't go too far into the anecdote when it was told.
Yeah, I don't particularly fault you, but there's also the seeing as this isn't a first hand tell, could be bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. And other apologies at the risk of misgendering this person. This friend of mine is now Miss.
Okay, sure, but like I feel like in the context of historical tales, when people were unaware, it's okay to have a little bit of a slip because at the time you would have had no idea and would have just been like, it's a dude, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Now,
absolutely.
I'm saying that as someone who is completely, like, I was born a dude, I'm gonna die a dude because that's what I am. So I don't know how to relate to this sort of thing. It's like if you take umbrage, apologies. It's not intended in a malicious way.
Yeah, yeah. Devoid of gender politics. This is how the memory was.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't want to dwell on it too much, the fursuit and fetish side of things, shall I say, for too long. But we will touch upon it a little bit because it is kind of comes under the umbrella of furry, shall I say. I'm going to say that a lot as I stumble over my words to pick delicate ways of phrasing things. But
Furry umbrella TM.
but yeah. Again, it's weird to word things delicately. Fuck it. Let's just pull the band-aid off, shall we? The creepy sex shit.
Yeah.
I don't really give a toss either way what people do, as long as everyone involved is a consenting adult. Although I don't even feel like I need to say the adult part because you can't give consent if you're not an adult. But you know, it's an important thing to add. If everyone involves a consenting adult, I don't give a shit what you do or whatever gets your rocks off. And I'll be honest with you, I remember listening to a podcast once, and I can't remember which exact podcast it was, but Peach Saliva was on it.
Okay.
And she went to a furry convention with a friend who was a full-blown furry and out as a furry and didn't give a shit. And
Yeah.
she revealed a few things that I didn't really know about the culture because it's not my thing. It really isn't. I don't. But like, I didn't know this, for example. It's very much a gay thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's heavily populated. Yeah, it's like 95% homosexual community as opposed to heterosexual. Not to say heterosexuals don't indulge, but it's mostly gay.
Yeah, you can have female suits still piloted by men if they are twinky enough to actually fit in the female suit.
Could you not just have a really big suit? I don't know the mechanics, and I don't want to get into it. Fuck it, whatever.
You could have a really big suit, but it's got a better aesthetic if it's a slender suit, you know?
Yeah, I guess. But the other thing that she said was this guy took her back to the hotel room and said, "Oh yeah, we've got this room booked. It's for cuddles. If you go in there, everyone can just go and have cuddles." And she went, "Oh, is that all it is? I thought it was all about rampaging sex." And she went, and her friend went, "Oh, there's a room for that."
Yeah.
But this is the hug room. That you go in here if all you want to do is hug.
Yeah.
But I think it's always endearing to know when a community has standards.
Yeah, and it's got like lines in the sand that it's drawn for itself.
Yeah.
There is also an option on fursuits whether or not you have a butt flap.
I just can't take it seriously. I'm trying so hard to be delicate and not laugh, but the idea of people fucking in these things is really funny.
Yeah. Well, like, the only other time you can have a butt flap reasonably is like for babies' dungarees or something, when like they're like too difficult to remove, so you just have the butt flap. You flap that down and have a shit through it.
I mean, I've got to assume that most fursuits would benefit from that, because my days, imagine being desperate for a shit, or even a piss for fuck's sake, and having to take off the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because, again, I'm not intimately familiar with the machinations of the suits. I've only ever seen them in conventions, so I assume it's not for not gay purposes, sexual purposes, because they're walking around and it's just them. But
yeah. At the conventions that we're at, it's basically you get like one or two.
Yeah, pretty much the same. And I go down to MCM in London, which is a pretty big one, you know. But as far as I'm aware, the only bit that easily comes off is the mask, the helmet, the head, whatever you want to call it. So cannot be easy to take that to a public convention and then be desperate for a piss or a poo.
Oh, no.
Do not have a curry the night before.
No. Some of them are air conditioned as well. So
I was vaguely aware of this, but damn, that does make sense.
It does actually, yeah. So I think it's an offshoot of mascot costumes, but you know, there are more furries than there are sports teams.
Oh yeah, boy, is there.
Yeah. So the driving force behind the...
See, it's infectious. You're doing it as well now.
Yeah, we're going back to the driving horse. The driving horse behind the development is actually from the masses of consumers that want to, you know, kick around in some convention center in Texas and not melt.
Yeah, man. Again, want to stress, not bashing this community. It's not my thing. It's not Rick's thing either. But, you know, the reason why I want to stress that is because I know how much vitriol and hate furries get on the internet for no real reason, to be honest. It's a bit different because it's a bit more specialized and specific and a much smaller subsection of the community. But it just reminds me of those people who hate on gay people wanting to get married because you can't do that. That's horrible. It's just like I don't agree with people having sex in these furry costumes, and therefore you're despicable for doing so.
Yeah,
Like that's the kind of
yeah.
vibe I get. It's like,
I think the only actual valid criticism is when they inject mannerisms into normal speech. You, we see it a lot with Uwu Owo
yeah, but
from like FF14.
I get where you're coming from, but that's just a weeaboo thing.
Yeah.
Too many
Well, like
weeaboos do it for me to even give a shit.
that's the modern version. Like before that, it was well, it was pretty much that, but the old style and awooing at the moon whenever it was out, and
Yeah, but if you're not bothering anyone,
yeah, yeah.
I think the cool like you see the pictures of people pretending to be dogs on all fours and like going up to people in the park. I'm like, okay, that's fucked up because everyone in the park is not consenting to this.
Yeah, pet play, yeah.
However, if you're whatever you do amongst your own peers, and again, if everyone involved is consensual and doesn't give a shit, then go nuts. I don't care.
Yeah, yeah. Like if there was a pet play park in West Hollywood, for instance, then yeah, cool.
Yeah, as long as it's very clearly defined, this is what goes on here. If you come in here, you're going to see this or be involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
It's
And
like
which
it's like
go
having a
nuts.
nudist beach.
Yeah, absolutely. I, I
Yeah.
I don't care as long as it's in an area where everyone knows what's up. Because
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
like, there's some creepy images online which I don't agree with of like people in these costumes on all fours and they're getting pet by random children who don't know what the fuck's going on.
Ooh,
And I'm like,
yeah,
that's weird. It's technically there is nothing wrong going on here, but it feels
yeah,
weird. It feels
yeah, yeah.
wrong.
Well, it's as far as the kids are concerned, that's just like going up to Santa and sitting on his knee, you
Well,
know?
that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong going on here. It just don't look right.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Because the person being pet is getting more out of it than than the people actually doing the petting, or the families of the kids going, oh yeah, give the cute little mascot thing a pet. There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we've lingered on the subject longer than I thought we would actually. But
Yeah, apologies.
but yeah, I just wanted to that's the community. We're not really going to talk about that any longer because I'm looking off to the wall as if there's someone there. I apologize. But yeah, we don't really want to dwell on that. We're going to dwell on furry characters that sort of spawned the fetish, as it were. Because I had a conversation with you ages ago, Rick,
Yeah.
where I said I don't count myself as a furry because I'm not into that furry shit. I've seen what that furry shit vaguely is, and it ain't for me.
Hmm.
And then you said, and I quote, "Yeah, but you look at furry artwork," and I went, "Yeah, of course I do." Like, do you like the furry artwork? Yeah, some of it's all right, especially considering certain characters and inclinations I have on other characteristics. And you were like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're kind of a furry then." I'm like, I don't think so, but whatever.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, we're gonna try and avoid talking about individual people who are furries.
Well,
Um,
rather helpfully, I don't know any.
yeah, yeah. Like we know some, like from a distance, like Snuffy, for instance.
I didn't know she was a furry. I thought she just did it because, hey, guess what? This shit's popular.
Um, it's kind of in the middle there. She used to make. Okay, we're making the exception for Snuffy because she's adorable. But she used to make furry art, and she got so accustomed to it that she went, "Oh yeah, this is kind of cool."
To be fair, I
Um,
feel like you kind of got to do that.
yeah,
If you're constantly commissioned to do furry artwork, I think you have to either start enjoying it or you're going to start hating yourself on a fucking spiritual level.
true, true, true. But when she put her fetish tier list, a lot of the pro furry ones were in the S tier.
That's fair. People like what they like, and besides, we are going to touch on VTuber avatars later on because most of them are furry as fuck.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm
Yes.
going to actually drudge up a quote real quick from that Moth VTuber whose name I constantly forget. She's she's Moth Mummy as people call her.
Yep. Yep.
Um, she said, and I quote, "If you're going to be an independent artist, you got to get used to drawing horse dick." And like I'm like, The amount of artwork you see in the wild where random people just have equine
Yeah.
phalluses even. Like, yeah, I don't personally get it, but like, clearly enough people want that because that's all they're commissioning.
Yeah. Well, it's because like it's a thing that you can see out in the world. Horses have big dicks. Like, well, male horses. I don't know
Okay,
why that tickled you so much, but
because it was such a needless distinction. Fucking hell. Uh,
but yeah, like you can see it out in the wild. If you go past a horse, you're probably going to see a willy. It's probably going to be like longer than your arm,
oh no.
and
Mm.
it's a real easy thing for someone to equate with having a big wang. Like if you're going to put some wang on there, are you going to put a massive human wang on there that's going to like struggle to like exist on your pulmonary system, or are you going to put a horse dick on there, which just is a horse dick, and you can contextualize it as a horse dick?
Rick,
I've talked about horse dick too much.
Rick. It's a fucking cartoon.
Yeah, yeah. I've said horse dick far too many times in a row. I apologize.
I feel like it's not the first time.
Ugh.
Sorry. No, I'm not sorry at all.
Man, it's not even my favorite.
Okay. Right. Shall we move on? Shall I say?
Yeah,
Right.
let's shall.
Um.
But yeah, we're
Sorry, go on. Oh, can we? We've got to talk about one thing very quickly because I realised it's in my notes very early on.
Yeah.
We're gonna
let's do that one now.
So we talk about the creepy Undertale orgy.
Yep.
Alrighty, we're going to talk about Undertale a bit later on, but while Undertale is not inherently furry, there was a notorious Undertale convention, which was actually just a giant ruse in order to have a massive orgy, and they had to close. This is my favorite fucking quote, and it's probably not true, and I don't care. It's now cemented in my mind as a fact. They had to close the ball pit because someone came in it.
Oh.
And it's just like, oh no. Creepy Undertale fans, why?
I read something similar about TumblrCon. I think it was called DashCon.
Or maybe it happened at TumblrCon, but it was the Undertale fans that got blamed for it. So people have.
That makes sense.
Maybe it got conflated into it was an Undertale convention and someone wanked in the ball pit.
Yeah, I think it was DashCon, and yeah, there was like this really tiny, sad-looking ball pit in a massive aircraft hangar on its own.
Jeez. Ah.
Oh dear.
There's a reason why people find furries creepy, and that's because there's no end to stories like this that are just inherently funny because they're weird and creepy and almost don't sound real.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about famous furries, and what we mean by that is the actual characters. So, I think, as you put in here, the most famous one that we start with is probably going to be Maid Marian.
Yes, so famous, in fact, if you type Maid Marian into Google, there is a single picture of artwork of a silhouette of Robin Hood and Maid Marian hugging, and the rest is this fucking fox.
Yeah.
This character is notorious at this point, and may as well be on the banner for furries everywhere. At least straight furries. Well, straight, not even straight. Straight or lesbian, or by people who like girls.
Yeah. The entire movie is actually a pretty decent awakening point for a lot of people as well, because not only is Maid Marian, but Robin Hood is Robin Hood, and they get together and they do things. Well, it's implied.
Like, the funny thing is about a week ago, I actually watched Robin Hood, this particular cartoon, with a buddy of ours, Chris.
Sure.
Well, we watched most of it until another buddy turned up, and then we did other shit. But there's only two female characters that are sexualized, and that is Maid Marian and her handmaiden, who is just a big chicken. But my god, they made her tits massive.
Yeah.
I guess the joke is chicken breasts. That's the only thing I can assume was what they were thinking. But
that's definitely the joke. Yeah.
But there is something in this for everyone. So like, it's very easy to see how furryism may have been birthed in many people, because there's body shapes for anyone's preference in this, and they're all furry creatures.
Yeah. I mean, most of all, you've got what's Baloo in this one? Is it Friar Tuck? Is he?
No, Baloo is Little John.
Oh yeah, Baloo's Little John. Yeah, bears are a thing. So
For those who don't know, in the homosexual community, bears are large, hairy gentlemen. So me and Rick, basically,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Basically, us if we were like
slightly
nut
le-
munchers.
slightly less fat and a bit more muscular, and then we probably fit the
Yeah,
stereotype quite well.
yeah. If we lifted and
I don't know, man. I've got some biceps because of the archery. Uh,
well, yeah,
I just don't tend to show them off because everything else in me looks like shit.
yeah, yeah. Man, I used to, but that was years ago. That was a lifetime ago, man.
Mr. Rugby Man.
Well, not even that. It was when I used to go rowing, and I was like, the thing about don't skip leg day. Well, that was basically it. Like, you could have an entirely like buff upper torso, and then like, yeah, you had to pull with your legs, but you kinda could avoid that if your arms were strong enough. Like Joe from Family Guy.
Yeah, I get you. Well, pretty much any disabled person then in a wheelchair.
Yeah, my legs don't work, but I make up with it with a strong upper body.
Like for real, have you ever seen a guy or a girl in a wheelchair in real life? They are fucking stacked upper body wise because they gotta be. Their arms are their legs.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Especially the independent ones, like elderly ones that tend to get pushed around. Sure, they don't have to be as upper body positive, but yeah, anybody who wants to retain independence, you've got to build into that.
Hmm.
But yeah, Maid Marian and foxes in general, I think they're the reason that foxes are so dominant on the furry scene, especially red foxes.
I mean, you've also got the fact that even before Robin Hood, this film, I keep looking off into the distance. I apologize. I get distracted by shiny lights.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the
Not by a moth that you've just
that pissed me.
discovered.
That really pissed me off last week. Not even gonna lie. But yeah, before even the Robin Hood film existed, the term vixen was
Oh yeah,
was a descriptor for particularly attractive and live females. Fuck
yeah,
me, I
yeah, yeah.
sound like a real women, not females.
Oh boy, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah,
sorry, it's very easy to just evolve into scientific talk, but in certain contexts, it makes you sound like a knobhead.
mm,
Not my intention. I apologize.
yeah, vixen was a term for Jessica rabbits.
Yeah, yeah. And weirdly, Catwoman.
Yeah,
Like if you say vixen, my mind instantly goes to Catwoman.
yeah. Well, mine goes to Jessica Rabbit, but then that's just
That's fair.
yep. um, but yeah, there's a gag that if you start as a furry, one of the basic starting points is you start as a fox or a wolf or a husky.
I have seen. Okay, okay, okay. That actually makes a lot of sense because whenever you see like a group photo of a bunch of furries just having a group photo, about 9/10 of them are wolves.
Yeah, yeah.
But I always
Fox,
just
wolves,
assumed that
huskies.
that I always just assumed that that was the easiest costume to make.
Well, they're all just as easy or hard as anything. Like you could very easily make an ape. Like it's just a furry dude with like a face.
See, I'm in this weird place where I'm like, I think apes are so human-like that can you really be a furry if you're into apes?
Maybe not. Like, I think
That feels like
monkeys.
just bestiality at that point.
I think monkeys are a step further enough away.
Disagree.
Um, like there's a big difference between Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. Despite because they're different species.
I still think I again when I see monkeys, I see things that are just human enough to basically, if you dress up as one, you're not a humanized version of a monkey. You're just a big monkey.
Sure, sure.
But hey, man,
Uh,
I'm not an authority on this. I'm far fucking from it.
true enough. True enough. No worries.
Man, the amount
Um.
of confidence you got to have in the size of your dick to dress as a horse, though.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine someone's like, "Oh, you're a horse. You must be good." Gets back to the hotel. Oh, you barely get it out the costume.
I think with that you probably have a prosthesis.
Let me have the joke.
Yeah, yeah.
No, I have no doubt that a lot of the enjoyment in the actual reality of things is via toys.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
But yeah, shall we move on?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So after Maid Marian, we're going to talk about the one that's from your awakening, really, Lola Bunny.
Yeah. She was so cute.
Mm-hmm. And it's one of those. She's not super sexualized, but she gets a lot of attention in the film, and that's what matters.
I think I even put in the notes that I barely even registered her appearance. It was more her jock like personality that was really like, hmm. And like Bugs Bunny tried to flirt with her a lot in that film, and every time he did, she shut him the fuck down.
Yeah, yeah. Which is one of those things that when they reimagined Lola in the modern day, they made her more of a ditzy bunny boiler. She
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that.
where it's they flip it around that she wants to be with Bugs. Bugs kind of wants to get away from her.
So they turned it into Sonic and Amy.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just going to interject very quickly. Chris is in the chat. He's using
Hello.
us as background noise, and he said Planet of the Apes Furry Edition, and it's like, oh no.
Oh, with Helen Bonham Carter.
All right. To be fair though, she's
Yeah,
as a woman.
she's a good-looking lady
eh,
already. So like, turning her into another species is basically cheating.
wow. I didn't watch Planet of the Apes any version of it, so I really don't know.
Yeah, I watched the new. Oh, well, I say the new one, the newish one with Helena Bonham Carter. Like, well, I say newish. It's probably like 2001 or something stupid
Well,
like
yeah,
that.
because the new ones is all that CG shit with Caesar, isn't it?
Okay, yeah.
And Draco Malfoy is a dickhead in it because that seems to be the only person he can play. Tom Felton, that's the actor's name. There we
Yeah,
go.
yeah, yeah. um, but yeah, I also and I didn't see Space Jam until like relatively recently. I was with you guys actually when I watched it for the in its entirety for the first time.
Oh damn.
Before that, it was just something that I saw pictures from.
Oh shit, Inkables is here as well.
Oh, hello. The first time I've not actually got the stream open on the.
I'm genuinely not used to having live audiences during retro.
Yeah, totally. We had the one live audience when Chris was here for the D&D talk, but that
And
was an outlier.
when we did the evening on a Wednesday for Shira, we had Nihal.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, sorry, this is going to make no sense to the audio version.
Yeah. But yeah, I only saw pictures of Lola Bunny. Years later, I saw clips. We saw obviously the trailer where you get the "Don't Call Me Doll" bit,
Oh shit,
which
that was
was
disgusting. Sorry.
the "Don't Call Me Doll" thing. I think was a reference to Pamela Anderson in Barbed Wire, where she goes "Don't call me babe" and then shoots people.
I mean, I would have been too young to have gotten that as a reference, but hey, I know it's not a beyond them because later on in Space Jam, there's a very cool reference to Pulp Fiction where it's Elmer Fudd and Yosemite Sam with the pistols and the glasses and the suits, just the fucking surfer rock.
Yeah.
It's, it's full of shit like that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, and yeah, we maybe touch a little bit on the so quote unquote controversy of desexualizing Lola for the re-release.
Yeah, we've had this discussion off the podcast before, and just on the record, I genuinely believe there would have been nowhere near as much outcry if the director didn't say beforehand, "We're doing this because perverts."
Yeah. If they'd have just gone, okay, these are all the designs, people would have been okay with it.
I don't
Like,
even think they needed to do that. It could have just happened in the film, and if an outcry happened afterwards, then they could have gone, "Okay, shut up, perverts," because
yeah,
the character was done pretty spot on in my opinion. Like she acted in the previous film, and that's what mattered.
yeah, totally. I didn't go see it, so
I saw it because I really wanted to see Space Jam because I'm like they're gonna fuck this up, and then I was kind of disappointed because they didn't, but it was also a
yeah.
decent film. So if it wasn't
Yeah,
for War Machine, it would have been terrible. But that fucking actor gave it 110%, and that film didn't deserve it.
yeah.
Don Cheadle,
Yeah, Don Cheadle, yeah.
yeah,
The second War Machine.
the one that matters.
Yeah. The one that's in it for more than one movie.
I bet he
Um,
regrets that.
yeah. Um, but yeah, you've talked about a couple of other old school furries. Gadget from Rescue Rangers.
Yes. I wasn't actually a fan of this particular character. However, I sent you a comic the other day, and I can't remember what it was, but you went, "Oh yeah, Gadget in the corner," and I was like, "What? Oh,
Yeah. So she's an incredibly cute member of the cast of the Rescue Rangers. I don't remember her being curvy, but
Oh, you look her up, man.
yeah, if
I
a
did my
lot of new
research,
artists,
mostly one-handed.
yeah,
Sorry,
um,
low-hanging fruit. That joke had to be made.
along with a lot of other characters, artists draw her, more exaggerated as he would. But I just remember her being a fun member of the cast when I was growing up because this was like it was new when I was a kid.
Yeah,
So
man.
by the time you were a kid, it's probably so old hat it wasn't even getting repeated anymore that very often.
Probably. Like, the thing that always weirds me out about rodents in particular, like, yeah, they can
Mm.
be drawn very sexualized and attractive, but,
Is it the
like,
creepy little hands that real rodents have?
no, I don't give a shit about that. It's the fact that they're still rodent-sized, so you can't fuck them anyway.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
So for the rescue rangers, the chipmunks, the mice, the rats, whatever, like yeah, they are little.
like they're drawn to scale. They're like that. Like, that's... You're probably going to fill it up. Minimum.
Oh
Like,
boy.
you'd probably kill them. Like,
Yeah, yeah, totally. The other one is Minerva Mink, and I didn't know about her until internet days.
same.
Even though I watched like Looney Tunes and Tiny Toon Adventures and what have you, like she only shows up like 3 times, but the internet loves her.
They do. Like, I don't know anything about Minerva Mink in an official capacity. I just know that she is very popular amongst certain not safe for work artists.
Yeah, yeah. She's not quite Jessica Rabbit, but if someone dared a bit more, then she would basically be shaped like Jessica Rabbit.
Yes. Very quickly, Chris goes on about the Tifa controversy because they thought they were giving her a tit reduction. I think it's slightly less egregious with Tifa because, in my opinion, Tifa isn't much more than a pair of tits. And Inkables goes Sally Akon for them. And funny
Ah,
enough,
yeah,
she's on the list, so don't worry, we'll talk about that.
yeah. Sally Acorn's coming up. But the thing about Tifa is they claim that they were just giving her a sports bra, so
Yeah,
she was
sorry,
like wearing
Chris does explain all that.
yeah, she wearing 2 layers.
Hmm.
And the other side of it is that on the PlayStation 1 you couldn't really show something without super emphasizing it.
Oh, absolutely. Like, Scarlet was even bigger than Tifa,
Yeah, yeah.
which people seem to easily forget most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. Apart from in the FMVs where you see Tifa and she gets onto a cliff at one point and there's an audible thud as her boobs hit the cliff.
Fair enough, man. But yeah, let's stay on topic, shall we?
Yeah, yeah. Apologies.
Oh, no, blame Chris for bringing up Tifa. It was relevant, but...
Yep. So, Thundercats.
Thundercats, yes. Really relevant because it's going to come up on the review soon.
Yeah, very soon. There's Chitara in Thundercats. She's a very lithe, literal Catwoman.
She wears the exact same yoga-esque outfit as Sonya Blade from Mortal Kombat, which is only designed to emphasize that one spot between the legs.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then please exit the podcast now and preserve your innocence.
Yep. And the existence of the legs, like they're also there to be enjoyed when wearing that costume.
It's also very weird as well, isn't it? Because even though Chitara is a furry because she's half cat, the way she's drawn, it does just look like her skin's got the cheetah pattern as opposed to having fur.
Yeah. I think that was a casualty of how things were drawn back then.
Very much so. And also, let's be honest, the best thing to come out of Thundercats is those bloopers.
Yeah. I want to see my tits, my dear.
My favourite one is when Lion-O just goes, and also, is that what? It's that fucking word again. Do you want me to say it? Yes!
Oh yeah, on the bit where they say, "Oh, I'm doing it too fast." Oh, okay, I'll do it slower. And yeah, when you watch Thundercats back, you just notice that they speak really fucking slow.
The amount of jargon that is just gibberish. Like, one of them is like, I should have known that when the Sword of Omens didn't react to so-and-so, that they knew they couldn't be bad, and what the fuck am I saying?
Yeah. But yeah, there are other characters in that show. There's Wily Kit and Wily Cat, but they're like teenagers, so
They're not teenagers,
really
they are straight up kids, man.
Yeah. They're actually older than Lion-O is meant to be.
Piss off.
Which is the problem. Like, the reason that he's got a character arc at all is because he's got the mind of a kid. The cryo sleep that he was in malfunctioned and let his body age. So now he's got an adult body and he has to learn how to be a leader.
Okay, but that doesn't. Okay, fuck it. Time travel's bullshit. Let's move on.
Which is also the reason why Lion-O will never get with Chitara, because she knows that he's a kid.
Yeah, except I think they completely shit on that in the Teen Titans Go-esque version of Thundercats.
Yeah. I mean, there are people who are adults now who weren't around when even the new Thundercats came out, like in the early noughties.
I sworn they had a reboot in like 2012.
Was it 2012?
I don't know. I could have sworn it was later than the early 2000s, but hey, we'll find out tomorrow when we dig that shit up.
Yep.
And I'll be able to say I was right, or I'll be able to say I was wrong.
Or just gloss over it because I'm just as likely to forget.
This is very true.
This is true. I am an old man.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. What's Chris saying? I see him say my name. Dev feels uncomfortable. I'm going to assume that was about the kid thing.
Yeah. You've put that you've noticed the amazing world of Gumball.
Yes, I have no idea. Well, I do know why. It's because people are desperate and she is technically a MILF, I guess.
Yeah.
The character Nicole Waterson, which is the mother of Gumball, the titular character of the Amazing World of Gumball, has a shit ton of art of her. And I realised and this is not going to be my proudest admission, but I'm going to admit it, while browsing Pornhub for some things, porn, obviously, and there's a straight up like 10-minute video that someone has drawn that looks identical to the show of just Nicole Waterson getting banged.
Yeah.
They've taken voice clips from the show and just repurposed them, and it's kind of creepy. I never lost a boner so fast.
Oh no.
Actually, no, I probably lost a boner quicker than that. But it was more. When you see something, you're like, that can't be as realistic as it looks. It is spot on.
Yeah.
Good
like
job.
Car crash. Like a car crash, you can't look away.
It wasn't a car. It was very well done. I just Have you seen the art style of The Amazing World of Gumball? It's not sexual in any way.
No, it's not. And because of that, it's easy to replicate.
True enough.
Which is probably what they've done, indeed. Like, it's the kind of thing that before the death of Flash, you could just recreate the entire thing in Flash and then just move things around, and then you've got your animations already.
Well, like I said, 10 out of 10 for like mimicking the show and like taking voice clips, genius, and like they add like slight like breathy noises so it sounds like things are going on that they shouldn't. But it also helps that the character always seems disgusted and put out in the show, so it's very easy to grab a voice clip of her going, really? It's again, it's not my proudest admission that I've seen this, but yeah, it exists. And even without that, on 4chan, someone has made like a 1.5-minute clip of a humanized Nicole Waterson having a bit of midnight fun, shall we say, on her own.
Cool.
Again, the only reason I'm putting her in the list at all is because there has to be something to it, because there's so many. Two. The fact there's two is mind blowing. Of things with production values.
Yeah.
Like,
with a lot of these animation things, like even if they do something like that, they tend to be, not the best.
Oh God, no.
Like, I'm not even going to go into it because it's, yeah. Okay.
You coward! I admitted my shit.
Well, I was going to say Hero Academia, and they're
those characters are not legal.
Yeah, they're not adults.
Although, then again, don't forget that 2-second disclaimer of all the characters shown are 18+ is more than enough to get you off in court, apparently.
Yeah, apparently so. Characters depicted are 18+, and yet they're going to a middle school.
Yeah, but okay. It's one of those weird things where because it's animation, doesn't matter so much. But you've also got the fact that imagine it as actors.
Yeah,
I think
Rangers.
Yeah, I think that's what they're going for when they say 18+. It's like it's actually 18+ actors portraying the characters. Now, that's a bit hand wavy and wishy washy, and I'm not sure how people feel about that. But I think that's the logic behind such disclaimers. However, some people put that disclaimer on things where the characters are over 18 anyway. I think they just have to do that at the beginning of everything they do because legal reasons.
Yeah, plus if they do it for only things that are sus, then it's more conspicuous, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. Chris brings up the pro hero, the fucking bunny girl hero with the big muscles in
Ah,
My Hero
yeah.
Academia. Yeah,
Mirko, yeah.
she wasn't even on our list, but yeah, I've seen a lot of art of her. But when it's she's literally just got bunny fucking ears and a bunny tail, so I could. It's actually like later on in the list as well about the distinction of different levels of furries. But like, yeah, that's enough for me for that to be classed as a furry.
Yeah, she's got bunny ears, bunny tail, and she has the incredibly powerful legs for jumping like a bunny.
Yeah, well, if you want to get technical, Suyu's a furry.
Yeah, 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 totally, totally.
Right? She's a frog.
Not even a scaly, she's a slimy.
I don't think her skin's slimy though.
No, no. But yeah, like amphibians and reptiles, like okay.
I think
Some
I think amphibians will come under the scaly banner, to be honest.
Yeah, basically, because like even though they don't have the scales like fish and reptiles do on either side of the amphibian part, then they still basically come under scalies because they're in that same kind of category. Um, but yeah, I've also seen Nicole Watterson drawn in a more realistic style within the show, and that's possibly where some of the things came from and some of the attention. I think there's like an anime parody episode.
Yeah,
where...
there is. I've seen it. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Honestly, like if you look at the Amazing World of Gumball on the surface level of its art style, and there's a lot of conflicting ones depending on what characters are even involved in the episode, it's a lot funnier and better than you'd think from the on a surface level subpar art style. And it's not subpar; it's just not complex.
Yeah, it's just a cartoon. It's a very cartoony art style rather than a mostly cartoony, semi-realistic one like like She-Ra.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will touch on MLP.
Okay, good. Because I actually, what was my exact wording, Rick?
We're in the camp of anthro is acceptable, but obviously this is a dark hole. Is what you
put. there's a subsection of the MLP community called Cloppers. We've touched on them before, and they straight up draw sexualized art of the ponies as is, which, in my opinion, even though the ponies can talk and whatnot, so consent's not a key, I'd still put that very firmly in the bestiality category, which is not okay.
It's pastel-colored bestiality.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, if you turn them into a human furry type, then apparently that's suddenly okay.
I have to think that's better, Rick.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Moving on.
Yep. Zootopia.
Yes, I've not seen this, but I'd have to be a fool to not see that that is clearly something that has helped birth a new generation of furries.
Yeah, Zootopia is the current generation's version of Robin Hood.
Yeah, I've seen this said before, yeah.
Yeah, it's the progenitor of...
many a fetish.
Yeah, like, people seeing it for the first time go, ooh, It's like the kombucha girl meme of... That one. You've
Chris,
seen it before.
Sorry, Chris is just, I guess, has only just got to the Froppy talk. That's how much of a delay there is. The issue with Froppy, aside from her age, is that the slime, as Rick calls it, is actually toxic. So do with that information what you will. Yeah, but toxic slime could just mean hallucinogenic.
Yeah, like the whole trope about licking a frog to go on an acid trip. I also think it's more corrosive than...
I think that's Mina's acid.
Okay.
You know the pink girl that has actual acid
Pinky.
powers.
Yeah, Pinky, yeah. Mm. But yeah, she's mildly poisonous and hallucinogenic.
Also, I don't actually think she's illegal by UK standards. I think 16's legal here. I know 16's legal here. I just don't know if she's 16.
Okay, 16 is legal on a one-to-one person basis, but you have to be 18 to be filmed.
Okay, but I wasn't talking about that.
Yeah, but like, okay, but depictions are the same as being filmed,
It's a cartoon!
Yeah, I know, but like, the whole point of a depiction is that it's normally based on being filmed.
Yeah, but again, like, if it says everyone's 18 plus, I assume that means actors are being used.
Yeah.
There's loads of fucking hand waves for this shit, which is why I think cartoons are kind of a weird grey area when it comes to anything that's questionable.
yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
uh,
but yeah,
Zootopia, yeah,
a
yeah.
little bit on Zootopia. I think the Awu thing actually was popularized by Zootopia.
Oh dear, so you
How
definitely hate it then.
one person starts an Awu, and every other dog type, wolf type joins in the Awu, and you end up with an Awu circle. And this is where you got the sign of "Don't Awu, fine $200."
Oh, I didn't know that was even a thing, but okay.
Someone brought a like gag sign to a furry convention that was just a big yellow square with a picture of a wolf with I guess a line through it saying "Don't Awu."
Yeah, you know what? I'm morbidly curious to an extent to actually go to. Oh, I just unlocked a key memory.
Oh boy.
Last MCM I went to, I don't know if I told the story on the podcast, but there was a stall that was selling furry shit. Did I
Yeah.
tell the story on the podcast or did I tell it
I
in
think you
private?
did. I think. Well, okay. You told it to me. I
Mm.
can't remember whether it was in a preamble bit or no.
Well, okay, this is what happened. There was tails for sale, as well as
Yes.
masks and other definite furry shit. And the person I went with, Matt, I don't mind throwing him under the bus. He threw me under the bus.
Yep.
As we were walking past, he went, "Oh look, furry stuff," and I went, "Where?" Because you don't see that every day. And he
No,
went,
you
"Oh,"
don't.
and then his exact words were very loudly, "Butt plug tails." And I was like, like fucking Home Improvement. And I looked, and they weren't butt plug tails. They were just tails that clipped onto someone's like trousers or whatever.
Yeah.
And I made contact with the stall owner, and I'm assuming she's she. Apologise if she wasn't. They're not gonna watch this. And I quote, "It's not all creepy."
Yeah.
I was like, I didn't say anything.
Yeah. It's not all sex stuff.
Anyway,
Come closer. Have a look.
anyway, you know that sticker I sent you as part of the package I organised for you.
Mm.
Yeah, that came from that stall because I felt bad and was guilted into buying a sticker. Not even by the stall owner. There would have been no interaction if it was not for Matt going, "Tail butt plugs." Like, you know, you can't not look if someone yells that. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, as part of a morbid curiosity, I'm kind of curious to just visit a furry con one day, just to see what they do aside from the sex shit in hotels that happens after hours. I know that
Yeah, totally,
happens.
totally.
Enough people talk about it, apparently.
Yeah, I think it is mostly like a bit like an anime con, but with more focus on artist booths and stuff for sale.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like there's a lot more artist booths than there would be like panels and stuff, as far as I'm aware, because like you don't have as many professional productions within that circle.
No, I can't imagine so.
And even if there are, then they're like single mini studios that are just like cropped up among the fandom rather than like a big old studio that's like well established and gets on TV.
I mean, I'll be real with you. The last MCM we went to was just a bunch of indie people because it was the first one since the Corona times, and a lot of big names just didn't bother showing up.
Yeah, totally. Another thing about Zootopia though is that it's one of the first big name depictions of an interspecies romance, as it were.
Oh, isn't the main romance between a fox and a bunny?
Yep.
Yeah, cool.
And like part of their part of the shtick is that yeah, he's a carnivore and she carries an anti-carnivore pepper spray on her at all times.
Yeah, to be fair, isn't that like we did a fucking episode on it?
Yeah,
That's
Beastars, yeah.
yeah, it's literally the main plot line of like, hey, carnivores and herbivores have somehow gotten together for X amount of time, but all of a sudden there's been a murder mystery,
Yep.
which we never
Yeah,
worked out because we didn't fucking watch it. Well, I
no,
didn't.
no. I watched a couple more episodes of it, and yeah, they do actually go into like what animals they are more. So when we did dismiss it as being why is this even furry, like they're not actually doing much other than say carnivore herbivore.
One of the few comments on the channel was on that video. in which someone went, "Oh, you didn't even get to the fucking furry shit." And it's like, no, we
Yeah.
know. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one of the complaints.
I think it starts in like episode 2 as well.
Funny enough, like it's on a bit of a delay. Chris has just commented, "I hope you guys mention B-stars during this at some point."
Yeah.
Followed immediately by, "Oh, typical." So we know which bit he's now on.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also briefly talked about furry conventions, talking about bullying stuff and feeling like belonging to a certain degree. And it's just like that's more or less what we touched on at the beginning of the podcast, which I assume he wasn't here for.
Yeah. And the next bit you've got is Digimon.
Yes, Digimon's in a weird fucking place when it comes to furries, although there is one iconic example of a furry Digimon which is used in a lot of artwork.
And that is Renamon.
Yes, a fox, because foxes are apparently incredibly sexual. Not just any fox, a kitsune.
Yeah, and it's voiced by a woman, and when she comes to the real world, one of the adults says, "Oh, you're a girl, right?" And Renamon goes, "Digimon don't have genders." And then the person just insists, no, someone with that, like, swinging gait and that amount of elegance, you got to be a girl.
It's one of those weird things where, okay, Digimon don't have genders, however, Lady Devamon has a gender in its name. Like, okay, I get it. I guess what they mean is they don't have, like, it seems to imply that Digimon lacks sexuality, in that all Digimon are asexual. And if you played in Digimon games, that's kind of true. The way that Digimon, baby Digimon come into the world is a Digimon dies and it is reborn as a Digi-Egg.
Yeah, it just comes back as its own egg, yeah.
And like even in the RPGs, the way you get additional Digimon is you acquire data and then you turn that into another Digimon. So technically speaking, Digimon are asexual exclusively. However, Lady Devamon.
Yeah.
And Anja Woman.
Like, even Renamon, like, one of the megas that she turns into is Sakuyamon, which has bosoms.
I'm really bothered because Chris typed Anja Woman as an example as I said her. But yeah, like, there's plenty of Digimon that are clearly female, as well as there are plenty of Digimon that are clearly male. And by that, I mean sexual characteristics. I'm not getting into gender politics. I can't be asked.
Yeah, masculine.
Yeah, masculine and feminine. Like, you cannot tell me that Beelzemon is feminine.
Yeah.
They are also clearly designed to appeal to the male fantasy.
Yeah. I do like Beelzemon. He's a good lad. I will actually jump a little bit ahead here to the Pokemon bit, because you can't really talk about Digimon without talking about Pokemon, and you can't really talk about Renamon without talking about Lucario.
Yes, they are pretty much the two standards of... If you've seen any type of furry porn, chances are it's involved either Renamon or Lucario, or both. Yeah. Lucario tends to be the go-to for males, Renamon tends to be the go-to for females. However, there's a lot of artwork in the world, there's times when it's vice versa, or both, because art is a magical thing.
Yeah. There's also, as you put, the Gijinka, which is the anthropomorphized human traits given to non-humans. So where you turn a regular animal type, so like an Eevee.
Well, actually, the actual style extends to more than just Pokemon. Like,
totally.
Originally, it was just like table, chair, kettle, onion.
Yeah. You can, well, the basic form of it is you give it a face and make it smiley and happy.
Yeah.
And that's basically how you make Voltorb. But then you end up with giving it more and more human parts, like arms, legs, a torso, and more and more human parts. Sometimes clothes. Normally, it just ends at clothes.
Shall I mention the Vaporeon meme?
Yeah.
But technically speaking, Vaporeon is the most fun Pokemon to fuck.
Yeah. Because it's self-lubricating, and like the whole point of the Vaporeon meme is that it's told by a Vaporeon.
Yeah, but it's told in the most crass manner possible, which makes it 10 times funnier.
Yeah.
Chris brings up Gardevoir, but it's one of those things where Gardevoir, Haturne, anything that's too human and not remotely furry, I kind of don't really cover under the furry umbrella. However, by the fact that they are not human, they are kind of furry.
Yeah. We're it's one of those lines that it's a blurry furry line.
Da da da
That
da da da.
and yeah, Gardevoir is I think one of the first ones that was just a humanoid that's meant to be furry bait, as opposed to like even going back to Gen 1, you had a thing with thick asses like Mewtwo. Like certain people are attracted to things like Mewtwo because of its thick ass.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I had a thing for Nidoqueen when I was younger.
Yeah, because it has titty.
I, I don't like debasing myself to such a bare bones level, but yeah, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. But yeah, after we've talked about Pokemon for a little bit, we can jump back a little bit to what you put next.
Just very briefly, the beauty of Digimon and Pokemon is even though even in their base forms, without gajinkering them and turning them more humanoid, all of them can give consent because Digimon can talk, and Pokemon psychic types exist, and therefore you have a translator.
Yeah, you do.
And if you're lucky, it'll be a Gardevoir, male or female, who cares?
I'm gonna have to call for a break real quick.
Very okay. We are going to very quickly just go over to the title card, and Rick, you're muted, and now I'm muted.
And we're back. And sorry for the delay there, everybody. But yeah, during the break, we had the talking point of Madagascar brought up.
Yeah, it's a weird one because I suppose there's probably artwork out there of those characters more anthropomorphized, but it's just lions.
Yeah, they are more along the lines of like animals animated with human skeletons, as it were. Like Not
We,
not human skeletons, with humanoid animations rather than just being the animals.
if I recall
Like,
correctly, was the last civil discussion between Jada Pinkett Smith and Chris Rock.
oh boy, oh, oh man,
That's
yeah,
topical.
maybe, yeah, it is.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know, man. I've not actually personally seen any artwork from there, but I've also looked for it. So
Yeah, they also did have some interspecies romances. Like, wasn't the
the giraffe and the hippo, wasn't it?
yeah. The giraffe was Ross from Friends, wasn't it?
Yes, and the hippo was Jada Pinkett Smith.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
to be careful lest we summon Will Smith and he smacks a bitch.
Well, we're not telling jokes about her. We're just referencing what she has done. But yeah, um, that was a fun bit of time. And what did they get? 3 movies out of it,
Oh, at
plus the
least.
the Penguin one,
Oh,
where
they had their own series.
yeah, they had a series and a movie.
They had 2 series because they had
Two series.
the Penguin series and they had the King Julian series.
Okay. But in the Penguins movie, the villain was Benedict Cumberbatch, who is notoriously bad at saying penguin.
Pengling.
Pengling, penguins.
The funny thing is he can say penguin perfectly well. It's just not for that documentary, and yet no one decided to say, "Hey, do you want to do a retake there, Benny?"
Yeah. But he says it differently every time as well.
It's so bizarre because again, Graham Norton doesn't take the piss out of him, but he brings it up and he just goes penguin, and he said it perfectly fine. But
but he was also second guessing himself. Penguin, was that right?
it's so baffling that if I have actual words to say about that director or producer, whoever was in the booth with me at the time, to not pick me up and say, "Oh, by the way, mate, you said penguin wrong like 3 different times."
In 3 different ways. Yeah.
Do you want to maybe do a reshoot of that line?
Penglings.
It,
Penguins.
it is very adorable though the way he says it
Penguins.
because he goes pengling. It's
Yeah.
enough laughing about Benedict Cumberbatch, who is less wrathful than Will Smith.
We're laughing with him because he's also like laughed with himself at that clip.
Yeah, I don't actually mind giving Benedict Cumberbatch some shit because he's one of those celebrities who made a big deal about wearing masks back in the day. But yeah, let's move on to sexier talk.
Yeah, monster girls. Some people would argue that they are not furry because they are just animal parts with human bits stuck on them.
However,
but, you know,
I remember once reading a post on 4chan of all things of saying how monster girls are just furries for weeaboos, and I'm like, yeah. Like certain monster girls, like I don't think Zombina or Tio from the Mon Squad in like Monster Musume would be classed as monster girls because it's an undead and a demon. But
well, Tio is just big. She's just a big lady with a horn.
yeah, exactly. And Zombina is just an undead girl.
Yeah. Or multiple parts of multiple different undead girls.
That's another thing as well. Where do you draw the line at monster girl? Not monster girl, at furry? Because I get so fucking annoyed when, like, on a monster girl or furry subreddit, they post succubuses.
Yeah.
Mm.
Closest thing to a succubus normally is a bat.
Will that be a
We're
vampire?
getting to that. Yes.
I don't class vampires as furries.
No.
I don't class succubuses as furries. I don't even class them as demons. Well, they are demons, to be fair. I just get
demons, yeah.
I get incredibly tired of seeing them on the demon girl subreddits because it's just girls with rune tattoos.
Mm-hmm. Like, if they've got the horns and the wings and the tail, cool.
Yeah, but even then, it's like, you're such a vanilla Monster Girl fan.
Yeah.
You're a basic bitch.
A basic bitch monster girl that you can just recreate in your back garden.
Jesus, I suppose it would be very easy for someone to cosplay for that if it was a fetish.
Fetish?
Oh, did I say that wrong? I apologise.
Fetish.
That sounds like an incredibly gross sexual act. Let's do some fetishing.
Fetage.
I get the impression that it involves cheese, and that's enough to make me go.
Well, You're thinking of fromage, which is not that far off frottage, which
Oh
very
no, I'm
definitely is a
very.
thing.
I know what frottage is. I'm not
Yeah,
fucking ignorant.
yeah, it's fencing. Yeah. But yeah, we are very much pro Monster Girls.
Yes, in
Uh,
fact, we're probably going to do at least one Monster Girl themed retro one day.
we could probably do a Monster Girl month, depending based on how many different things there are.
I don't know if I can be arsed.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
rather sprinkle them than load them in.
You don't want it directly into your veins,
No.
especially if it's Zombina, because she uses like embalming fluid as blood, doesn't she?
Oh no.
Well, but yeah, there's so many different kinds of Monster Girls, and well, my answer to the question at the beginning of this was one of said Monster Girls.
Yeah, but again, low hanging fruit when it's a fucking fox.
Yeah, and also a shapeshifter. So have fun. Pick anything that takes your fancy on that day, and just ask nicely.
Chris makes a valid point. At least Rick was a kind enough director to correct my fetish. Uh, uh,
But yeah, yeah, like you say that even Tamamo would technically be furry by some people's
if you take the fate
definitions.
Tamamo no May, she is definitely a furry with the. But okay, listen, I take the stance that if you have furry ears and a furry tail, you're a furry.
Yeah, I think that's the 10-20%.
But like, I think that's enough to be like, that's a furry character. Because
It's
later
still on
on,
the
I make
scale, yeah.
reference to characters who have just that as their defining features. But yeah.
Yes, it's still on the scale. Yeah. But yeah. Um, and we'll get on to video games.
Yes,
We
I
touched
bundled
on
a
it.
bunch together because I was lazy.
Yeah, we touched a bit on it with Digimon and Pokemon, but this is where we get into the big old list of them. You got your Spyro girls.
You have, yeah, okay. In the original PlayStation 1 game, they weren't quite so obviously furry bait because they just weren't designed sexually at all.
Yeah, they were more Tom and Jerry-ish, yeah.
Sheila the kangaroo was straight up a kangaroo. Allura was kind of, there was something there if you squinted and you had artistic ability. But in the Reignited trilogy, my god, they went hardcore.
Yeah, I've seen the redesigned Sheila, and she looks really fun.
She does. And, alright, listen, I looked it up for research purposes.
Yep.
And bizarrely, there are 2 pictures of PS1 Sheila.
Okay.
Sheila, yeah. And it's not good because I don't know if you see, again, look up PS1 Sheila the kangaroo. It is just a kangaroo and not a very well designed one.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like the characters, they knew what they were doing. Allura has always been cute, even though you couldn't really tell so much in the PS1 days. But like they just like hyperdrived it for the Reignited.
Next one you brought up is Star Fox.
Yes, I've never played Star Fox, but every character is definitely a furry, and I know people who are interested in women, particularly like Crystal.
Yes, they do. So Star Fox, the original, what goes back to around the same time as like Sonic and Mario and all that, because it was on the SNES. So for Nintendo people, you had Star Fox. And basically you just had more or less the front cover and some really low poly sprites for when they're talking in battles. Then you got the 3D version on the N64, which was slightly better in terms of like representing the characters as the character.
Oh, don't forget, every single pilot in that game has had their legs mutilated.
Yes, they've had their legs cut off below the knee. Oh, sorry, around at the knee, so that blood doesn't pool in their feet, and they have human feet, all of them, because that is the simplest prosthesis to give them that will also operate the controls of the starships.
Also, buy ink.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to cut
ink.
Rick off to say that, but yeah.
Yeah. Buy ink. Bye. And yeah, it was only when they got it to the GameCube that we got Crystal, and that was where 4chan erupted. They basically said, "But Crystal is okay."
Fucking hypocrites. Then yeah, it's 4chan, I suppose.
Yeah, and there was a meme on Fur Affinity of Crystal can't enjoy her sandwich.
Okay, go on.
And
What's the meme?
it was just Crystal going with a sandwich, and they used that to censor things.
Oh, okay. My favorite recent incarnation of censoring things is there's Persona 5 artwork, shall we say,
Yes.
and it's censored by Iwai uh in front of the very lewd, sexy picture, and he's just holding up a box that says Iwai's top tips number 571. Did you know in Persona 5 you could do blah? And it's like, I don't care Iwai, you get you're in front of the poontang.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, when you said Persona 5, what I immediately jumped to is Morgana going, "Go to bed."
there is that too, and also Chris, we're not being sarcastic. It's in one of the rule manuals for one of the earlier games of Star
Yeah,
Fox.
it actually is part of the law.
Yeah,
That
and I knew this because it's mind blowing. Because why? You didn't need to make
Mhm.
this detail, and I think it was Rare, wasn't it, that did Star Fox?
They definitely did 64. I don't know if they did the original one. Probably.
I think it was 64 where they introduced that bit of lore because it's just like Rare just hates animals, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. So there was another one where they didn't have any females in Star Fox 1 or 2. Sorry, in 1 or 64, but there were some in Star Fox 2, which wasn't released until recently. It was like 99% complete, but the
Okay.
N64 was coming, so they thought, oh, let's just not release this. And then if you buy a SNES Mini, you
Yep.
can get the official Nintendo copy of it now.
Oh,
And that
cool.
has it has two female pilots that you can get. I think one of them's Farrah Phoenix, and the other one's a cat.
I don't fucking know, dude. I don't care about Star Fox. I just know Crystal is furry bait. But
Yeah,
the whole cast is furry bait, but Crystal is more relevant to my interests.
yeah. Crystal starts as a like noble barbarian type. She's very scantily dressed.
I'm aware.
Um, and I think this is actually the last game that Rare made for Nintendo.
Okay.
And yeah, you start the game with Crystal on the back of a dragon, shooting staff bolts, and then you go around doing Zelda stuff with a staff.
I thought this was a space game about spaceships.
This is the one game where Fox lands on a planet and High Command says, "Yeah, do this on foot." So
I'd
it's
be
basically
fucking pissed.
so it's basically a Zelda clone.
If I bought that game after playing the original Star Fox, I would have cried.
Yeah. There's a few ship bits. Basically, when you go to another part of the planet, you go on your ship, off planet, and then come back down somewhere else. So you have to do a bit, and then the final boss is in the ship. It's just Andros again.
Doesn't mean anything to me. And when you say Andros, I just think of Amphibia.
Okay. Yeah. King Andrius and Dr. Andros are different people.
Oh, no shit.
But then, yeah, they did make some more Star Fox things after that. They turned Crystal from a tribal girl into a pilot by giving her a zip-up catsuit, which is cool,
Totally not
and
playing into the fetish shit.
playing into a different fetish. Oh man, when you first encounter Crystal as Fox, they go into some like sex saxophone.
Of course they do.
So, and you're basically encouraged to look at Crystal frozen in a crystal because that's now your motivation for finishing the story.
It's kind of like that Metal Gear Solid scene where you've got the entire time Snake's just looking at Boss's tits.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like, why? Because men.
Yeah.
But yeah, I couldn't really contribute much to Star Fox. I'm really ignorant of the series, so yeah.
Yep. The Bandicoots.
Yes, specifically Torna and Coco. Now,
Yep.
Coco is a bit questionable, shall we say, because
Yep.
the ages of these bandicoots is very ambiguous. However, you know, that doesn't stop people from really getting into Coco.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, it's really weird. In Crash, Coco didn't exist. We had Torna Bandicoot, and it was meant to be Crash's girlfriend.
Yeah.
In Crash 2, Torna goes away forever, and we have
Yep.
Coco, which is a little sister, and it's like, okay, fair enough. This is now what the fan base is going to sexualize because men are creepy. And
Yep.
in the new game, About Time, Torna comes back with a redesign.
Yep.
Have you seen her redesign?
I think I might have done, but not recently.
They knew what they were doing.
Okay.
They gave her like a punk rock mohawk. She looks like punk as shit,
Sweet.
and she looks more mature than Coco, which fucking helps.
Isn't this one where she's come from from an alternate universe where her,
Yes.
yeah, the regular heroes are gone and she's now the regular hero from that universe?
In fact, the first conversation after she finishes talking, because Crash is effectively mute, Coco goes, "Huh, the way you talk, it sounds like we died." And Torna just goes, "Yeah, you
Yeah.
didn't." But yeah, as a straight male-ish, I can only really talk about Torna and Coco. However, I'd be ignorant to ignore the fact that I know that in the gay community, Tiny Tiger is a big thing.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah, yeah. Man, even a lot of mascots are a big thing. Like, so you say Tiny Tiger, but also Tony the Tiger.
Oh, my days. Oh, I told you the story about the Twitter account, right?
Yeah, I think so, but
The Twitter account got shut down because Tony the Tiger's official Twitter account kept getting bombarded by furries wanting to fuck him. Except because I think it was either a bot or someone who was way under their pay grade. Because they were responding to every single tweet with "they're great" and traditional Tony the Tiger catchphrases, but
great. Yeah.
hey man, muscular furry dudes, muscular dudes in general is something that people were probably going to gravitate towards. Make them furry. That's what the furry people like.
Yeah. Totally.
Like, I'm sure there's some people who like Crunch and Crash as well, but they're like, Crunch is just another big beefy dude, except a bit darker in the fur, and he's got a bit more of a Latina or traditionally Latino sort of mustache going on. At least that's how I see it. I could be wrong on that front, and apologies if that sounds a bit racist. It's not intended to be. It's just the best way I could think of to describe it. He also talks like Mr. T.
Okay.
So if that does it for you, and then you got Crash, who's mute. But I guess if you're into just furry people in shorts, that's the only person I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah. Oh, we had the place I used to work at. They owned a Crash Bandicoot fursuit.
Go on.
And it was for when you were doing promotion for one of those stores in the day. You could get in the Crash Bandicoot suit and walk around town and be Crash Bandicoot. And yeah, it was fun.
Until,
well, you only got it for a couple of days because, yeah, other than that, it'd get old if you did it all the time. So it was only when you were promoting the store that you were in, and then it would go back to another store and make the rounds. There were like 8 stores in the chain.
I thought there was going to be a point to this story.
No, it's just we had a Crash Bandicoot fursuit. And
Could have ended the story there. You just did a mum story.
Yeah, I did a mum story. I used to have to lead the Crash Bandicoot around so they didn't trip over things or bump into children.
Fuck that. If someone decided to go out in a Crash suit, they're on their fucking own. You made this decision, motherfucker. You got to live with it.
The clue's in the name. Yeah, it's going to crash into something.
Although that said, I sympathise with anyone who has to wear a mask, because pretty much every mask I've ever worn has had... This is denial of vision. It's like literally just 2 little slits here.
Oh yeah, it was worse. There was like a little grill that you could see through because his head was above the normal human head. It was like a 9-foot tall costume.
Well, my Cthulhu mask, the eye holes are just above the tentacles because it's weird.
Yeah.
It was very regularly that when I talked, I like to look people in the eye when I'm talking to them.
Yeah.
Which means very often when people were talking to me while I was dressed as this Cthulhu-looking motherfucker, I'd be like this.
Yeah.
Because it's the only way I could fucking see. Sorry, people who are listening to the audio version of the podcast, what I did was just leant back really far and looked like a twat.
Yeah. Well, it's either that you either lean back or lean forward, depending on where the eye holes are. And if you lean forward, it looks like you're really trying to menace someone out.
Which is fine as a Cthulhu mask.
Yeah.
Dude, I remember when I debuted that, it was a weekend, so I had 2 costumes. The other nights I was a Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
However, I can only do one impression well because this is before I played Undertale. So, but it kind of fits, and that is, I just go around the fucking, because we were at a holiday camp. I just go around the park, and whenever someone looked at me funny, I go, "Damn you, He-Man!" And except for when there was kids, because sometimes I think that kids need to learn a lesson, and there was a lot of kids who showed no fear. So naturally, they'd sort of stand nearish me, but not too close that I could reasonably attack them. But not that I would have, by the way. But and they would just be like pointing, they'd be laughing and giggling, and I was wearing a fairly realistic skull mask. I had my hood up.
Yep.
I was wearing robes. I looked like the Grim fucking Reaper, albeit if he had a bit too many biscuits.
The Biscuit Reaper.
Yeah. Yeah, I had my scythe, and yeah, you know, as kids are, they're like trying to impress their mates, and I just stand there, literally going to quote Patrick Star menacingly, and just I'd silently just stare them out, and eventually I'd win.
Yeah. It's very easy to win a staring contest with someone that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah, I don't like children.
No.
Chris, I'm 95% sure there's a picture of me on the Facebook somewhere wearing that because I was quite proud of that outfit. But yeah, I think it up at one point.
Yeah, other video games. We're going to touch on Sonic a little bit more in depth later, but
Sonic's got its own segment because it's full of it's a cesspool of human fetishes.
But it did spawn some other wannabes. So like, there's Sly Cooper is another PlayStation one.
Yeah, like, I made a note that it's very weird how a lot of PlayStation icons were furries. However, I guess they were trying to take the lead from Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. So this was like early days of PlayStation when they hadn't given themselves, they hadn't gotten an actual mascot for themselves yet, and they still kind of basically don't. I think the closest thing the PlayStation's got to a mascot now is probably Aloy.
Well, it's one of those where PlayStation's competitor nowadays, like back in the day, they wanted to outdo Nintendo because Nintendo fucked them over. So fair enough. However, nowadays their competitor is Xbox, and Xbox doesn't have a mascot. PlayStation and Xbox now do the same thing, and that is when they have the logo, there's a bunch of exclusive game characters around the logo.
Yeah, PlayStation's got what? It's got Aloy, it's got Nathan Drake, and it's got what?
Kratos. Yeah.
And yeah, Xbox has got, well, technically anything by Rare, so they technically still have Banjo, but they're...
It'd be very dishonest to have that on your logo when there's not been a new Banjo game in like 10 years.
Yeah. They've skipped an entire generation without a Banjo, and now they're like, it's like 2 consoles later since the last Banjo game, and the last Banjo game was a bit shit. So...
Yeah, if they bring out... Listen, they've got a low bar. If they bring out a new Banjo game, it's just got to be better than Ukulele, and by all accounts, that game was proper shite.
I enjoyed the first hour or so, and then it
That's not a good indictment.
Well, it's one of those. It became very obvious that everything after that was just a remix of the first level. So
no, you didn't. The answer is no, you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah. So I didn't get very far in it. Like, the first level was cool. The second level, oh yeah, these are the same monsters. There's no new enemies.
I feel like that's how I felt about FF12, except I enjoyed that game.
Well, yeah. But at least with FF12, they mixed things up a bit. Like, there was more than just the Tomato Man and the Grim Reaper.
True.
There was the Mimic, for instance.
Yeah, but it was just like, we have like 5 core enemies. They will appear throughout the game, except they are slightly different colours.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think I digress a little bit. Plus, we'll talk about Final Fantasy again in a minute.
Yeah. But yeah, even the Elder Scrolls isn't safe. They've got the Khajiits, who are cat people, and depending on which game you play, they are varying degrees of cat people. In the modern ones, they are incredibly cattish and like have literal like jaguar faces.
However, that being said, I don't think there are any romanceable Khajiit. Oh wait, no, I tell you, no, Zhizago exists and he's a dude.
Yeah. You can marry a Khajiit. You can be a Khajiit and romance anyone as well, so you can do it the other way around easily enough.
You're talking to me, Rick.
Okay, one can be a Khajiit.
And you got Argonians as well, which are the token Scalies, and I've got to be honest with you, kind of don't mind them.
Yeah, they look way better, actually, I think. I think the Argonians do a better job of looking like lizard folk, dragon type people than even the Khajiit do of looking like cat people, to be honest, especially in the Skyrim engine.
The Khajiit do very much look like they just have photorealistic cat faces plastered onto human bodies.
Yeah.
Which don't look good.
It's not perfect, but hats off to them for having the diversity of that, because they've got their own culture and all that. If you go back further in the series, you could have Khajiit that were a lot like humans with cat ears.
Fair enough. I remember in Oblivion when they first started doing the transition, I think, to full blown cat people, and they looked awful.
Yeah, yeah. For the first however many months, there weren't any official Khajiit in Oblivion, so to get Khajiit, you had to have a mod.
Interesting.
So it was only after the first expansion or so that you could actually have a Khajiit as a playable character or as people in the world.
They do.
So yeah, and also Oblivion was a real. You've heard me say Bethesda face in the past, I believe.
They messed up both Patrick Stewart and Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Just saying.
If you mess around with the sliders in something, you end up with something awful looking. And yeah, I just refer to that as Bethesda face.
It's not inaccurate.
Yeah. You get Bethesda face pretty easily in Dark Souls as well.
We're aware.
Messing around with stuff.
Yes, moving on.
Yeah. There are other video game things like Earthworm Jim. He is just a worm, but he's got a big buff man suit.
Yeah, except when he's not in the suit, he is just a worm, so you can't ever fuck him.
Yeah, but he does also have Peter Puppy.
Sorry?
He's got Peter Puppy.
There's also the love interest that's technically a bee.
Yeah, Princess what's her name? She's shunned in...
That's actually her name as well, isn't it?
Yeah, her name actually is Princess what's her name. Like her first name is Princess.
Earthworm Jim was dumb.
Yeah, Princess what's her name is shunned in that society for being deformed, and the way that she's deformed is that she just looks like a normal human woman that just has antennae.
And
she wears a bee suit.
And boy, I'm just saying, the bee in FF7 did it first, and it was good.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it probably didn't do it before Earthworm Jim. Earthworm Jim is old as fuck, but
yeah. Oh, bee.
It's gonna be close.
I think Earthworm Jim. Yeah, Earthworm Jim was Mega Drive and SNES.
Okay, but the cartoon came before that even.
Yeah, the cartoon was around the same time as well. But yeah, the cartoon would have been before FF7.
Yeah.
And the cartoon was probably better animated than most of FF7 as well. So, because most of FF7
that's
was...
not fair, comparing animation to video games back then.
Well, all they had to do was wait a couple of years and you got FF8, which is a lot better animated.
Grr.
And then FF9, which is better animated squared.
Well, that's because FF9 might as well have been a fucking PS2 release.
Yeah. But yeah, Earthworm Jim had Princess what's her name. It had Evil the Cat, who was just a cartoon animal, but and Queen malformed, festering, mutated something slug for a butt.
Yeah, but she was gross. I don't think anyone's fetishizing that.
She was gross, but apparently the bee people really liked her, which is why she became the queen.
Okay, but we're talking about furry icons, Rick, not just random characters in universes we enjoy, which I don't particularly care for Earthworm Jim that much, but it was a cartoon I watched as a child.
Sure. And yeah, you go on to the fighting games. Felicia from Darkstalkers.
Yeah, I think the only reason she doesn't get quite so much attention is because everyone always points at Morrigan.
Yeah.
Who is also kind of a furry, depending on how you define Batwings. I don't really count it because she's a succubus, but...
Yeah, she's a succubus. She can do a little bit of transformation. At one point, she rips out part of us. Well, she gets part of her soul ripped out, which becomes the Lilith of that universe. And then they go together as the big succubus and the little succubus.
Yeah, Lilith don't make not much sense in that context, because Lilith is meant to be the mother of all succubus.
Yeah. Wasn't she also meant to be the first wife of Adam?
In Christianity, yes. I don't know if that applies to Judaism.
Well, it's meant to be the same thing, isn't it? So
yeah, I know, but there's little differences in the stories which people have killed people over. So I feel like you should make the distinction.
Yeah, Felicia has a lot of more cat-like mannerisms than most cat girls have.
She also doesn't wear clothes depending on which game you're playing. She
doesn't wear clothes until her ending, and then she becomes a nun.
Okay, well that sucks.
I know, right? And then on the other side of the fighting game coin, you've got Tao Kaka, which is another cat girl, but you never see her face.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. What game's she from?
Blaze Blue.
Oh, that's why then. That's a stupid anime fighter.
Yeah, and but the better furry girl from that is Makoto Nanaya, who's a squirrel girl,
Hmm.
and she's very bouncy, and she's the nicest person on the villain team.
So she's a gag character. Got it.
Yeah, kind of. But yeah, we'll go on to Final Fantasy.
Yes, there's plenty of examples of furry characters in Final Fantasies. Hell, there's multiple races of it in FF14, but that's not what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about the two prime examples I'm familiar with, and that is Freya from FF9 and Fran from FF12, which I'm sure many a teenage boy popped one out to.
Yeah, absolutely. So Freya is a weird one where you basically need to see the artwork to actually realize how cute she is.
Yes, because her in-game fucking character icon is bad.
Yeah, it makes it look like the eye-like things on her hat are her actual eyes, and then that makes it look like really weird characterization.
Well, you look at her nose in order to establish that that's her nose. However, to child me who didn't know that that's what they were going for, it looked like a mouth that was constantly open, and she looked like she had a skull for a face.
Yeah.
Which was very poor work on the designer's part. But yeah, we've spoken about Freya in a different episode. Let's talk about Fran.
Yeah, she's got permanent high heels because that's what culturally they do. Their feet are shaped like that, so they need high heels to give them a bit of support while they're running.
Yes. And she's not the only person of this race. There's an entire race of bunny girls called Viera in FF12, which I think have belonged in Evilist since Evilist was a setting. However, 12 was my first exposure. And they are almost all dark-skinned. They all have bunny ears. They all have bunny tails. And Fran, in particular, has got quite a lot of muscular on her legs. And as a leg man, yum.
Yeah, she does. She's implied to be like incredibly lithe and muscular and strong and vicious and ferocious when she needs to be.
However, overall has the worst stats in the game.
Yeah.
So much so that when you first get her, if you're playing the version of the game, aka the international version or the most recent re-release, it's suggested heavily that you make her a machinist so she can do actual damage at the beginning of the game.
Yeah. Damn shame, because she's such a fun character to have around. And even though she doesn't speak much, like, part of what they do is they give her an accent which plays up the idea of her having like buck teeth, which she doesn't show very often because she doesn't smile very often.
I don't remember any of them having buck teeth.
Like, apparently they do.
Okay, but they don't fucking animate it.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
They tend not to open their mouths too much. But yeah, she's meant to have at least slight buck teeth.
If she has buck teeth, then they fucked up her fucking mouth line. Because when if you got buck teeth to the extent of a rabbit.
Oh yeah, they come down into your chin.
That's me doing that really highlighted the fucking shit bum fluff on my chin. Yeah.
Point out the existence of chins. Here's one. Here's another. But yeah, I enjoyed Fran. She's very definitely a pull factor for people on the furry fence, as it were.
Yeah.
To FF12.
Yeah. Chris brings up a valid point, even though he acknowledges it's not the point of the podcast. But the thing that bothers people a lot is that Varn has the best stats because protag.
Yeah.
No one likes Varn. The only people who like Varn are the Japanese because he fills the Japanese tropes. Same with Pinello.
You could tell most of the story of that game without either of them because Ash and Balthier are much better main protagonists.
I mean, Balthier was definitely meant to be the main protagonist because every single opportunity he has, he says, "I'm the leading man."
Yeah.
However, playtesting said that Japanese audiences hated it because, no, we want a generic faceless newbie person who does the generic Hero's Quest because Hero's Quest is what we know. But anyway, we're not here to dwell on that because we have an FF12 episode in the book coming up later on.
Yes, we do. Here's one that I don't have a lot of experience with. The Vipers from XCOM.
Yes. You've heard the term snake.
Yep.
It originated from XCOM and the snake titties.
Okay.
They did not need to give all the Vipers are females, even the king.
Sure.
Actually, maybe not. Maybe the king doesn't have breasts. It's very hard. It's been a while since I played XCOM. But, yeah, the Vipers are a unit, which are giant snake people made out of, genetic compounds.
Mm-hmm.
And, essentially, I have to assume that someone on the XCOM team had a very specific fetish and just decided to give all of them tits.
Okay.
That's the only thing about these. Otherwise, they just look like snakes.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's
I
the
assume
only.
with arms and legs.
No legs, just arms.
Oh, okay.
They've got arms so they can hold a gun.
Okay.
And the way they get oh, fuck's sake. Yeah. The way they get away with giving snakes titties is they are officially venom sacs, and I'm using air quotes here. But that's like always the go-to generic thing of giving reptiles tits is, it's just to store venom.
Yeah, yeah. Like even in the Dragon Maid cartoon,
Yeah.
the Dragon Maid show, they're referred to as flame sacks.
Fucking stupid. But like, I don't care. I'm a dude. I like titties. I just, reptiles shouldn't have them.
Yeah. I want to touch a little bit more on Dragon Maid though. Like the human forms that they have are based on their ability to transform. So there's one of them later on who is so not used to transforming that she has very little control over her form. She has enormous tits.
Sure.
And it's implied that if she lost control anymore, they'd get even bigger. And the first time she transforms, she's got little balls for hands. And it's only later when she's got more control that she can actually like polymorph fingers.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some very top tier waifus in that show.
Fair enough. It's not something I'm familiar with.
If you've been on the internet, you've probably seen them without knowing.
Maybe.
Yeah.
It's really hard to say without more information, Rick.
Okay.
I don't want more information. Let's just move on.
Yeah. Sure. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yes, another franchise I've never touched. However, it's very clear that furries fucking love this franchise, and there's a lot of artwork of the characters. And I think I even put in a particular gravitate towards it is because the animatronics are basically just fursuits on robots.
Yeah, more or less. And you get to see the robots without the fursuits now and again, but you tend not to see the suits without the robots, as far as I'm aware.
I think there's one instance where you see a suit without a robot, and that's when you get the game over screen because you get stuffed into a suit.
Okay, yeah. And the one time when you get to wear a Freddy head.
I didn't know that was a mechanic in any of the games.
Yeah, at least one of the games, you get to just wear a Freddy head to scare off the other suits because they just think you're another one of them.
To be fair, Freddy's meant to be the boss, I assume. It's called Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah. The latest one actually has some non-evil suits. So the Freddy in that game isn't evil and he actually helps you.
See, that's a cool concept. That's what you'd expect from a game that has... I feel like they're up to like 7 now.
Yeah.
The first 3 were the same game, just with slightly different mechanics.
Yeah, different, like additional mechanics and different maps.
Chris is saying Freddy's gets weirder when you learn that it's the ghosts of... I think he's saying children.
Yeah,
the ghosts of children. I'm aware of said theory. However, it's one of those things that's neither confirmed nor denied. But the creator likes to tease that it's true, but never fully commit.
Yeah. Ghosts of children and the ghost of the murderer.
Either way,
yeah,
it's already bullshit.
Dodgy either way.
Yeah.
And the most recent one has a really cute-looking punk rock wolf lady, as far as I'm aware.
Chris saying they just want to play with you. Like in the first game, they straight up say that I don't know what they say in the other games. I remember I used to watch a lot of Let's Players in the day. Cause again, that game's like 8 years old now. Playing the original one. In the original, it's like, oh, by the way, the animatronics, whenever they see someone walking around, they just assume you're an animatronic that forgot your suit, and that's why they stuff you in the suit.
Yeah.
Chris says it's confirmed canon. Maybe it's... I'm just saying that seems like something that he may have read fan theories and went, yeah, fuck it, that's what's going on, to try and spice up his game, because he can only do so much with that initial premise. But, hey, whatever the case may be, it is what it is.
Yeah.
I know Chica is very popular for the people into women,
Yep.
and there's a pirate fox which I've seen a few artworks of, and I'm like, that's adorable.
But yeah, we touched a little bit on Undertale before, but yes, there are a lot of lovable, likable, and
Fuckable.
memeable characters in there are a lot of characters in Undertale, and there's something for everyone.
Yes,
Um, Goat Milf Toriel,
my personal
who
favorite.
is your personal favorite, and I had to pick her because I forgot about the existence of Muffet.
Okay,
For
I actually
as
brought
an
up a very decent point, I think, for Muffet. Are
mm,
insectoid women cast as furries? And if they are, surely they've got to be called something else, but I couldn't tell you what.
uh, Exoskeles.
No, that sounds stupid and too many syllables.
Yeah.
I don't want to brainstorm ideas. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like,
Buggies.
I'm sure there's a subsection of furries who have a different name that are into the more insectoid women. And Chris says Undyne is heart. And
Yeah.
I've got to be honest with you, there's no girls I'd say no to. Like, Undyne's a
Mm,
warrior woman. Of course, I'm going to say yes. Alphys is a war criminal Nazi, but like she's got that dorkable quality to her. However, you can't
yeah.
have one without the other because they are clearly a couple and meant to be.
Yeah. um. So yeah, we got the problem with Muffet is that she was also a she's kind of already a character before Undertale as well. So Muffet and So Sorry were both winners of a
We described this in the Undertale retro.
yeah, we did. They were both added to the game as a stretch goal
Yes,
for the Kickstarter. So they were both existing characters beforehand.
I didn't think it.
Muffet
I
was
didn't think it was a stretch goal. I thought it was a donation goal. Like if you sub at this tier, you get to include a
yeah, yeah,
character.
yeah.
But
So
it's
there
different to a
was
stretch goal. That's all I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. The stretch goal is for everyone's donations. The donation goals are if you donate at this tier, then you get this. And it's something like 10 or 20 grand to get your guy in Undertale,
Yep,
which
makes sense.
by modern standards is nothing. But by then, it was something that wasn't actually. It may not have actually come out ever. So,
Okay.
like, to get your character in Deltarune would command a much higher price, for instance.
I mean, you say that, but like Shovel Knight had like really cheap. I think it was like $5,000 because they've got a ton of guest characters that are just people paying to get them put in the game.
Okay, okay,
Back when that was a thing, anyway.
fair enough. Um, but yeah, a lot of them. You got, like you say, you've got the minor characters in there. Got the snowed-in innkeeper, the bunnies that send you up to bed, and then when you come down 5 minutes later, they give you a refund.
Yeah, which really fucking stung me because I thought the same thing would happen later on, but it don't.
Bratty and Catty at the end.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
the
they are clearly secretly meant to be whores. I
or
don't
at
care.
least
I don't. You're hiding down an alleyway, flogging shit. I think
yeah,
we know
yeah.
where this is going.
And the reason Burger Pants got his name was because he was trying to pay them with burgers and they fell out of his pants.
Okay.
Which is why they want you to go and get them a burger. Because
I
they want
don't.
one that's not been up someone's ass.
Okay. I mean, just because they're in the pants, don't mean they were in someone's ass.
Oh no,
But
not up the arse.
Toby Fox is American. Pants just means trousers.
Yeah, trousers. Like arse adjacent. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, Undertale has some good ones. Deltarune also has some good ones.
Very
Like,
quickly, Chris saying that hearing £5,000 is cheap. Okay, bear in mind that's cheap for a high end girl. Like that's a high end single target. Like you to get the base tier rewards, it's usually like 10 or 15 quid. But like £5,000 is very cheap for having a thing put in the game on your behalf.
yeah, yeah. For having something put into something that's hopefully going to be a popular game is a big deal. And for most things that are guaranteed to be popular, it's massively more. So if you're going to get it put into like a sequel to something that's already popular, it's going to be a huge amount of money.
However, if it's a sequel to something already popular, what the fuck's it doing on Kickstarter?
Yeah.
You're a fool to back it.
Yeah. But yeah, Was there anything else about Undertale that we could say? Oh yeah, I was getting started on Deltarune. Susie ticks a lot of boxes for a lot of people.
Uh, yeah. The only problem with Susie is they're in like high school, and it means ages are weird. Also, Chris saying, "I'm guessing you missed the rest of what I said." It's just uh, you're on a heck of a delay right now.
Okay.
Sorry, like it takes a minute for me to even register you said something, and then when you have said something, it's well, it's in the past, but
Yeah.
it's in the past for you. But when I'm reacting, you're not going to get the reaction until well, it catches up.
So yeah, apologies for that.
But yeah, I like Susie because she's a warrior woman and she'll fucking kick your ass. However, again, I really don't know what her age is.
No, no, she might have been held back a couple of years.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like in all the artwork, like they've drawn her that she is clearly an adult. You know?
Yeah, yeah. Would you count the Queen as a monster girl?
No, she's a robot. That's a different breed.
Okay.
However, she is a MILF. And Toby Fox knew damn well what he was doing when he designed that character. He knew he cannot plead ignorance when he knew what happened to Toriel, the innocent of innocent characters, and now here's this clearly fucking mega MILF into weird fucked up shit.
Yep, yep. Animal Crossing.
Yes.
Like, apart from the player character, pretty much every character in Animal Crossing is some kind of furry.
Every character in that game is entirely 100%.
Yeah, yeah. You've got the rivalry between the Tanukis in Tom Nook and his nephews, and the Kitsune lady, who's is she the art gallery lady or something?
Okay, Red is a dude, and he is a fox, not a Kitsune.
Okay, just a normal fox.
However, it is 100% definite that Tom Nook and his nephews are all Tanuki
Yeah,
and
yeah.
not raccoons because there's raccoons in this game and they don't look like Tom Nook.
So they've all got massive bollocks.
I'm sure in the fan art.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
yeah, the reason why I bring up Animal Crossing is Isabelle is particularly popular in artwork sites, and there is that now infamous animation by oh fuck, I think I wrote down who I think it was Zone.
Yeah, yeah. Anchor Zone.
Yeah, Anka doing the Egyptian dance, but then there's also Zone's added bit, which is either behind a paywall or on a different site altogether, where she's getting fucked to the tune of said music.
Yeah, Camel by Camel is the tune.
Yes, and I believe if
And
you Google that now, it's one of the top results.
yeah, yeah. If you Google Camel Camel, you get Anchor Zone.
Which, to be fair, it's a really well done animation. But then again, it's Zone.
Yeah.
Zone's been doing it since I was a sexually deprived teenager. So
Yep, yep. Man, he's even got his own mascot doing broadcasts now as well.
oh, that's been a thing for a
Zone
while.
Tan, yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a thing for a long ass time.
One of my
And
favorite ones is one of the more adult ones where she's in the middle of a broadcast and then she just sighs as a tentacle comes into the office and then it cuts to, you know.
But yeah, I heard a story at one point about some like young 12, 13-year-old kids talking about Anchor Zone on a bus.
Weird.
And that's how pervasive Anchor Zone has become
Yeah,
as a meme.
like, as far as animations go, Zone and Derpiction are both top tier artists. But like, I think Zone caught my attention when I was young because I have always had a thing for Raven from the Teen Titans.
Yes.
And Zone had like several animations, including her. And again, doing that thing that we were talking about earlier with Nicole Waterson of just taking clips straight from the show, voice clips, I should say. But yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Before we linger on long furry shit, let's get to our final topic for today, which is the cesspool that is known as Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah. So this started way back in the day of like the early 90s. And
I'm determined to say that DeviantArt was founded upon this fetish.
might as well have been. Like, that's probably why it's DeviantArt even. But Sonic was founded early on as funny furry animals that were anthropomorphized. And even back in the day, you had some people going, oh, well, if there's boy characters like this, there must be girl characters like this, and created their own OCs. Didn't have to wait long. So Amy Rose came in very early on. She wasn't meant to be sexualized. So they answered this with Sally Acorn and Bunny Rabbit in the American cartoon. They started out pretty much without clothes, but by season 2, they got clothes and were able to be shapely because of it. So Bunny got like that whole leotard thing going on that Chitara wears, and Sally just got a jacket, so she had no actual clothes on apart from boots and a jacket. But it just accentuated like that she was meant to be feminine.
Well, it's one of those things where it's something Sonic does quite often, and that is the less clothes a characters wear, the weirder it is. Because it's okay for Amy, she's wearing a full outfit, so she looks normal. But then you got Big the cat who just wears a belt.
Yeah.
Which is weird.
It's weird that he wears a belt and like he wears a belt and chooses to still wear a belt and nothing else. Like when it's Sonic, it's okay. He's just wearing shoes.
He has to wear shoes. So the implication is if he doesn't wear those shoes, his feet get fucked.
Yeah, his feet will get cut to shit. Tails just wears shoes because he's based on the Sonic model, and that's what they did. Knuckles is the same. They all wear shoes because they do. And then, later on, people wear other things. Like Vector wears his chain and his headphones.
Well, that's different, you see, because those aren't clothes. Those are utility.
Yeah.
Well, okay, the chain ain't, but...
Well, yeah, they're accessories and all that. Everyone wears gloves.
Yeah, because the artist couldn't draw hands.
So they all wear gloves, so they've got the same basic human hands, apart from Knuckles, who's got biffy boxing gloves with some spikes sticking out.
Yeah, Chris says when you have most of them wearing just shoes, it's weird. It's a weird decision, and boy, there's a lot of creepy fan art.
One of the weird fetish things that I got not turned on to, but got made aware of when I was very young, was I used to get the Sonic comic.
Okay.
And someone sent in a letter one day saying, "Why aren't there any pictures of Sonic without his shoes on? Why can't we see his feet?"
Oh my days! Are you talking about the original image of like Sonic having weird human feet?
Not even that. So, the editor put down, "I didn't realize you had a foot fetish, Callum," or whatever this guy's name was. I'm like, okay. First of all, he's got a point. Second of all, what's a fetish? Because I was like 7. And years later, there are a lot of pictures of these characters with their feet out, even in their normal blobby forms, and it's someone's thing, I assume.
Like if we're talking about Sonic, the Sonic franchise, having a foot fetish is really tame, and that's saying something.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also a bad franchise to have a foot fetish on, because like you said, everyone wears shoes.
Yeah. Well, I think that might be part of it. Like, they become a forbidden fruit because it's the only thing that's hidden.
Mm-hmm.
I can see your cog turning.
But it's just like formative years are weird things happen in those, don't they?
Yeah.
I wasn't allowed to see Sonic the Hedgehog's feet, so now I must wank to them.
Boy,
well, that's basically what you just said, just not in so many words.
Yeah, it's what it meant. Yeah, let's be honest. Later on, we got Rouge the Bat. She was very definitely designed to be Rouge the Bat.
Yeah. She was a very popular hentai character back in the day.
Yeah. But you've also popped a thing in for Cream's mother.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. The only reason I knew her name was Vanilla is because I very early on developed a thing for people with that motherly figure in cartoons, and she was the only character back in the day who had a adult form.
Yeah, in the Sonic franchise. Because even like Rouge is meant to be like 17, 18, 19 years old.
Which was fine for me at the time because I would have been like 13. But I liked older women. I still do like older women. Vanilla
the rabbit.
Yeah, her frame and the fact she's a rabbit. And I guess I just have a thing for rabbits because Lona's the thing that fucking started it all.
Yeah. Like, bunnies are a very good entry point because, you know what bunnies get up to.
I don't like saying that. It makes it sound so much more sordid than it is.
And yet, it's very common,
But, yeah, no, MILFs are great, and Vanilla is definitely one of those. And also, if you have a thing for Cream, there's something wrong with you because she does act like a child.
She is a child. She's 6.
Yeah, I know, but what I'm saying is, like, even when you're young, she acts like a child, so you can't really. There's no excuse.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh boy.
I believe she was actually introduced in Sonic X, which was very much a thing that I watched. That's
Oh,
what
she
Chris
was.
is claiming.
Yeah, she was Yeah, Vanilla was Sonic X,
Yeah,
and
that's what I would have seen her in.
Yeah, Cream was was Sonic Adventure 2. Not
Yeah.
Sonic Adventure, Sonic Advance 2.
Rick, I don't know if I've ever confessed this to you, but my first Sonic game was Sonic Heroes,
Yeah, yeah.
which is
Well,
why.
Cream was in that one as well.
Yeah, I'm aware. I'm aware. Vanilla wasn't. But yeah, me playing Sonic Heroes as my first Sonic game is why I don't actually mind 3D Sonic games that much.
Yeah, true enough, true enough.
However, even I know Forces was crap.
Yeah. Well, even then, it was just insipid.
It didn't play
Like,
well. I played that game. It was free on PlayStation Plus, and it felt crap.
Yeah, you just go forwards, and that's about it.
And I'm not a Sonic fan, so it's not like I was hating on it because I loved Sonic so much.
And you want, like, the big pull of that game is that you got to make your own Sonic OC.
Yeah, and you don't have that much customization options from the get-go, making it crap.
Yeah, you can give them the basic form, and then you can dress it up more as you go along.
I hate that. You can make a custom character. You get to choose their basic body shape. You get to make their color. Oh, the clothing options are a lot behind the game. Play the whole game, and then when you can look cool, oh, there's no more levels to do.
Yeah.
Fun!
Although at least you could actually unlock them rather than having to pay fucking DLC for it.
Yeah, true enough, I guess. But yeah, there's something for everyone in Sonic. There's many characters with different body shapes. There's many different genders and sexes. And yeah, the reason why I call Sonic a cesspool is because every sordid fetish in the world, pretty much Sonic's at the core of. Like,
Yeah.
It's not where I discovered it. I discovered Vor because 4chan's a weird place. However, I feel like it's incredibly prevalent in the Sonic fandom.
Yes, yeah, I've seen a couple of these, yeah. The other thing is, the Sonic side of the furry fandom is very easy to get into because the Sonic style is very easy to learn and imitate.
That is fair. Also, Chris just saying people wanted to design their own furry and it did not deliver. And I'm like, yeah, I agree 100%. That is also... I like character customization. It's a very big draw to a video game.
Yeah.
So when it's shit, it's disappointing.
True enough. Like, it's one of those where you could maybe have actually made a better game if you just left Sonic locked up and had it as, this is the world of Sonic and this is how the world has to get by without Sonic.
Well, that's
then you
one
get
of
him
the
at the end
things...
and he's like really cool.
That's one of the complaints, because I didn't play much of that game, I'll admit, because again, I didn't have very fun playing it. Sorry, very much fun, I should say. And one of the things I got told is when you get to Sonic during the Sonic Rescue mission, which is very early on, apparently, Sonic is absolutely fine, and he just goes, oh, okay, I guess I better escape now then, and he just walks out of jail without any problem, and he apparently could have done that at any time and just decided not to. He did a Goku.
Yeah. Like, they said that, he's been kept in this prison for like 6 months being tortured psychologically by Dr. Eggman, and he's like, oh, okay, had enough of this, and then he just, like, has a boss fight and leaves.
Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
But yeah, there's a lot of 18+ Sonic stuff, and yeah.
I mean,
like we say,
fuck's sake, Rick, I told it on another podcast, and I even said in the notes, I'm not repeating the story. If you want to see it, go watch our episode on that Sonic the Hedgehog movie. But I have a personal experience with a Sonic the Hedgehog furry online, which was probably not the most pleasant of things in retrospect, but I certainly enjoyed it at the time.
It's what gave us the title of that video.
Oh, geez, yeah, it was as well. Yeah. But yeah.
So, like, Plague of Gripes saying that about half of the commissions that he gets are just clothed and tame Sonic OCs. Yes,
I remember that. That was, again, it was fucking funny because it was one of his first appearances on the Best Friend cast.
Yeah.
And he just goes, what type of commissions do you get, Plague? Because he was doing the Patreon thing at the time, and one of the tiers was, pay this amount, you get a commission, because that's basically what you're doing. This isn't a tier, this is you want to commission me, and he couldn't think of a better way of basically arranging those. And and it was just like, it's never the weird, strange things you think it is. It's just always Sonic OCs. And it's the way he said it, with just so much, like, bitterness, because, like, the dude's a talented artist, you can't deny it.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
like he popularized like good-looking Saiyan women.
oh god, yeah, his saying women are. Like I
I love
think,
the commander. The commander's the best.
yeah, because like she's reading a magazine that's I can't remember the joke, but it's like something like big military strategies or porn. I forget which,
Yeah,
but she's actually reading
yeah,
a proper fucking storybook because Saiyans don't like nerds.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Uh, Chris is saying that they needed to give it Luigi's Mansion treatment in reference to Sonic Forces, where Mario is
Mm.
literally stuck, so Luigi has to step up, aka in this scenario it would be your OC. And yeah, that is what it should be. But, can't have a Sonic game without Sonic being the main character, unless it's called Shadow, which they actually did a good job with, even though you're just going around shooting motherfuckers, but whatever. I like
Yep.
that. It was fun. AK-47 when you absolutely positively gotta murder every motherfucker in the room, and that's where Shadow shines.
Yeah, yeah. Or driving around a parking lot in a Hummer with a Gatling gun out the window, just
God
blasting
damn, he
dudes.
did do that, didn't he?
Yeah, that was the best level. Like,
It's so dumb.
yeah, yeah. It's just like going through this car park. You got multiple levels of car park.
Oh Jesus. Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog is a furry cesspool. Oh, sorry. And it will continue to be so. And I think we should probably do our closing statements in 1 second because Chris is writing more messages. Oh, all hell Shadow. Rick knows. Rick gets it.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do you
Two
want to do
versions thereof as well.
Huh.
But yeah, it's just one of the ending themes to Shadow the Hedgehog, and then they made it into his theme tune going forward from like Sonic 06 onwards.
Fair do.
But I don't know if we can really do our closing three.
Yes, we can. Let's do it.
Okay. From the entire furry fandom, do you have a favorite moment?
Yes, I do. All of that magnificent hentai is glorious, and I would never trade away a moment spent with it.
Sure, sure.
What about you,
Okay.
Rick? Do you have a favorite moment?
My favorite moment is probably, I don't know, maybe the first time I had an awakening with a cartoon character.
And that was with?
Probably Princess What's her name, actually.
Wow. Well, before Robin Hood's made Marion, eh?
Here's the thing. I think I was too young when I watched that.
Okay. I was pretty young when I watched it for the first time, but I still went, damn.
Yeah, I think the first time I went down was with was with Princess What's her name, and then the rest of the world fell into place behind that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. And do you have a weakest link from the furry fandom?
My weakest link is unfortunately going to be aimed at the more live action segment, and that is when they do their pet play stuff in places where they should not be doing pet play stuff. Which is basically the same complaint to anyone who goes dogging. If you're doing it in a public place, make sure you're doing it in a public place where you won't get fucking caught, because people who aren't involved shouldn't have to be subjected to it.
Yeah, in the woods at nighttime, go.
Yeah, sure, go nuts. Don't fuck a bear. What about you, Rick? Do you have a weakest link for me?
Yeah, well, it's basically a extension of that. Anything that I wouldn't say deserves the persecution, but that has sparked the initial persecution, which has now gone far too much out of control. So stuff like that, harassing people that don't want to be harassed, being creepy when you really kind of shouldn't be, but the other side of that is the persecution itself. I think that's also a reasonable weakest link.
I mean, we spent like half an hour of the podcast at the beginning saying how like the live action community can be very creepy, and I don't like the fursuit stuff. I think it's weird. However, if you do it in the right place and everyone involved is a consenting adult, I really don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
but I'm talking about the X stuff. If you're just going around walking in your fursuit, you're gonna get some looks. But I don't give a shit if that's what you decided to wear. I'm gonna look at you because that's a weird thing to see walking down the street. But if that's all you're doing, I don't care.
Yeah, yeah. But do you have, after all that, an MVP?
I know we said we weren't going to talk about real life furries. However, you reminded me that Plague of Gripes is a great champion for furries. Because he is not a furry, but he draws a lot of furry art, and even though it's not the XXX variant, it's still pretty damn good.
Yeah, Yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, he
How-
is pretty damn good at it. Yeah.
However, I will give the joint a joint award to Lola Bunny because damn Lola Bunny. But yeah, Rick, MVP.
It's between Disney and Warner Brothers, just for the sheer volume of furries that they put out. So yeah, I'm going to give it to animation studios who know what they're doing.
Okay, fair do.
Yeah, it's far too broad an MVP, but I apologize. But yeah, that's going to be it from me.
That is the act of a coward, gentlemen, not able to name a specific entity as MVP.
Yeah, yeah, totally.
Damn it, it's worse when he owns it.
And after forgetting to talk about VTubers, that's going to be it from us.
Oh, okay. The VTuber talk is 9/10 of VTubers are basically furries. Even
Yeah.
Hololive is almost all furries, and the independents are definitely furries, except for like the
Yeah,
Goblin
yeah.
Girls and stuff like that. But hey ho.
Well, even the Goblin Girls are still monster girls.
Yeah, but that's the type of monster girl that is not a furry.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Still
like
a
calling
monster
it.
girl though.
Yeah, but it's not.
Zombina.
Yes, which I said isn't a furry.
Yeah, yeah. But still falls under the monster girl umbrella, which still it kind of.
No. I very specifically said certain monster girls come under furryism.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't be a dick
Yeah,
about this. Goblins aren't furries.
There's a bunch of held hands between monster girls and furries, and some of them are both. But yeah,
like fucking a dog, a cat, a fox, a lion. Like
Yeah,
I can go on and on. Even Gura is a furry. She's a shark.
yeah, she's a shark. Mume is the owl. There's a lot of birds in that. But yeah, and that's going to be it from both of us, I believe. If you liked the video and you weren't here for the live reactions, you have the comment section down below. And if you're listening to us on the audio platforms, you can send us an email. Where would that be?
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Just very quickly, Chris, I can see you've made a suggestion. However, we're wrapping up now. Sorry.
You can reply in the comments.
It's basically just so you don't think I'm ignoring you. But yeah, what's left to say other than keep yourself safe and keep yourselves happy, guys. Join us again next week where we're going to talk about something else.
I also don't have the thing open. Stay tuned. Bye.
Bye bye.